leaving one with a lifetime of severe swelling and pain. What we found out later is its severity might have been lessened or possibly even prevented if only we were better informed. That's why I'm urging anyone facing cancer treatment to get educated. Talk to your doctor. Make it part of your cancer conversation. And if you have LE, share your story. With patients and doctors working together, we can learn and live. Learn more at lymphaticnetwork.org.
Start your day with Sports 56 Mornings with Greg Gaston and Eli Savoy. Weekday mornings from 7 to 10, right here on Sports 56 and 98.5 FM. We are Sports 56, WHBQ Memphis, and W253DF Memphis, Flynn Broadcasting Stations.
It's time to get up and get your day started.
Morant. Oh! A jawbreaker!
It's Sports 56 Mornings with Greg Gaston and Eli Savoy on Sports 56 and 98.5 FM. The first hour of Sports 56 Mornings is brought to you by the Big Green Egg. Now, here are your hosts, Greg and Eli.
They get up every morning from the alarm clocks warning, take the 8:15 into
Just when you think winter is done, spring is upon us, you have a night like last night where the temperatures just plummeted. This morning, very cold. Right now, it is not too bad, but 48 degrees. We're looking at only a high of 58 today. That is springtime in Memphis. It is what it is. Winds will be gusting today like they were yesterday, and especially last night, over 20 miles per hour. In fact, 20 to 30 mile per hour winds. Occasionally gusts over 40 miles per hour today. Welcome into Sports 56 Mornings. Greg Gaston, Eli Savoy, Zach Boyd with you on this Wednesday, April 3rd, 2024. Happy Hump Day to you. We're in the Family Leisure Studios. Family Leisure, it's where family and fun come together. Their spring sale continues with factory direct pricing on swimming pools, spas, patio furniture, and so much more. You can check them out at 2120 Witten Road, which is just north of I-40. And the first hour of the program brought to you by, as Mr. Announcer Man said, the Big Green Egg. Coming up on the program today, we got a lot of guests. We got a lot of topics to get to. We're going to talk a little Memphis 901 FC soccer with Lawrence Dockery at 8:05, Jerry Palm on the Final Four at 8:25 from CBS Sports. The Grizzlies back in action tonight in Milwaukee. They're getting set for a big weekend. DeMichael Cole will join us as he does every week from the Commercial Appeal. That'll be 9:05. And at 9:30, singer-songwriter and Memphian Drew Holcomb will join us. One of his songs, Dance With Everybody, being used as the theme song basically for the NCAA tournament. We'll talk to him about that. He's also a University of Tennessee. I'm not sure if he's a graduate, but I know he attended the University of Tennessee. Looking forward to having Drew on with us at 9:30. As always, you can be a part of the program by hitting us up on the Sissy's Log Cabin listener lines by calling in or texting in at 901-360-8255. We got portal news both with the Memphis Tigers and elsewhere around the country. The big news yesterday locally, the Ryan Silverfield contract is done. We will talk about that on the program. We got NBA news as well. Big night for Bryce Harper in the Major League Baseball ranks and some college baseball on the docket as well. Good morning to you.
Good morning.
You okay? You survived with the cold that now hit us last night and this morning? Because I know you like it baking hot out there.
I mean, it's not like that cold. Like I was outside last night. I had a little pullover on. I was out grilling on my Big Green Egg, as a matter of fact. It wasn't like it was 40 degrees.
Yeah, but it was the wind that was howling when I left the ball game and was walking out to my car over at the University of Memphis South Campus. It was cold. I'm telling you, it was cold. Then again, I'm in a short sleeve shirt, so I wasn't prepared as some of the spectators were with their blankets, wool hats, winter coats. I guess they looked at the forecast a little bit more thoroughly than I did. I know Mr. Boyd over there, who's got a hoodie on, a hat. He's dressed like it's outside. I know you don't like to see that cold again or feel that cold again.
Yeah, I kind of had a feeling, like I got a heads up on it, And I was like, man, that means I got to put on a hoodie. Like, again, I thought we kind of moved past it. We're in light jacket weather to maybe possibly having some short sleeves on.
Maybe it happens all around the country, but it certainly happens in Memphis when you feel, okay, we finally got over the hurdle of winter, and it's definitely spring, and we're moving in that direction. It's going to be warm every single day, and then you get hit with reality that you have a couple of days or maybe even a week where it's cold again. And that is what it is. But we'll see. Hopefully there wasn't a cold spell of any sort at Augusta National, because not this week, but next week is the Masters. And you want those azaleas blooming. I remember the one year when they had the cold streak there and they didn't have the azaleas out. It just was drab. It wasn't the same thing. Hopefully, the cold front that has rolled through here is not rolling through there. Big news yesterday, of course, around here, Ryan Silverfield. Not a surprise. The contract was in the works. We've talked to Laird Veach about it. We've talked to Jeff Crane about it. It is a 5-year deal for Ryan Silverfield. Total package approximated at $12.25 million. It is through 2028. He had 2 years remaining on his old contract and now gets the new 5-year deal. 2.2 this year, 2.25 next year, $2.5 million in 2026, then 2.6 in 2027, 2.7 million in 2028. Thoughts?
Well, good they got it done. He's coming off a 10-win season. Certainly in the way these contracts are handled, you would expect some sort of extension, new contract, whatever. And took a little longer than you would expect in these situations, but they get it done. He's happy, they're happy, everyone's happy, and they can move forward. And there's other incentives in there where he could earn more. I'll be interested to see what the incentive is for if he were to win a conference championship and maybe even make the college football playoff, how much more he would earn. But seem on as far as market value is concerned, seems fair.
I think he gets the key to the city if they make the playoff. I think he gets whatever he wants.
He could get a key to the city. I'm sure he would rather have the hundreds of thousands of dollars that are probably in the contract for it.
Yeah, but the key is gold. It's pure gold, baby. It's a gigantic key of gold. I wonder, and I don't know if we'll ever find out, if the delay was because perhaps the school, and this is just speculation, the school wanted to give him 4. And is Jimmy Sexton representing him?
I do not know. I'm not sure.
But maybe they wanted 5, the school wanted 4. Because I was a little surprised that it was a 5-year deal. I thought maybe it would be 4 years. I know the days of equating the 4, so you're basically telling an incoming freshman they're there for 4 at least under their contract, and you're coming for 4. Those days are long gone. It's year to year, literally. So I'm not sure what that was. I don't know about the price. I think the salary is fair. The incentives certainly are part of every coach's contracts. But I would think, Eli, that while Memphis is still in the position they are in the American Conference, and unless there's further expansion and they can get into a bigger conference that pays more money, that we're probably closing in on the max for a football coach at Memphis, because what you have to pay the basketball coach, whoever that coach may be, and you couple that now with football closing in on $3 million a year, while it doesn't sound much to the Alabama coach or to the Ohio State coach, so on and so forth, it's probably near the ceiling, I would think, at Memphis.
I mean, well, look, these salaries are generally based on how much your boosters are willing to pay them. I have no idea what they, what the University of Memphis people that they're going to are willing to cap out at. But that's basically what it is. It comes down to how much money are we getting from the boosters to pay these coaches?
No question about it. But you and I know a lot of the boosters. We got a pretty good grasp on what's going on from a financial standpoint with those salaries, with NIL and things of that nature. And certainly it could get better and better and improve. as the years go on, where there's more money in the coffers. But it's a happy Ryan Silverfield, I'm sure. It's a happy bunch of players as Memphis gets ready for an extremely important 2024 football season. All right, from the world of the NBA, the Grizzlies in action tonight. They'll play in Milwaukee. Grizz with 7 games to play in their season, 25-50 after their win over the Detroit Pistons on Monday night. They got a big weekend coming up. They'll host the Pistons on Friday night. The return of Jalen Duren, James Wiseman, 2 former Tigers. Of course, Wiseman, just a quick cup of coffee before he was done. Duren, very impactful, his short stint at the University of Memphis. But they'll be in town Friday night. And then Saturday, it's the jersey ceremony as the jersey of Marc Gasol will be hanging in the rafters. Not the literal jersey, but they will be honoring Big Spain. He's making the rounds this week. He's in Memphis, and I know it will be a big crowd as one of their true heroes over the course of this organization's tenure here in Memphis, the Core Four. And Zebo already being honored, and now Marc Gasol on Saturday night. There should be a number of dignitaries here and probably some surprises. Can't wait for that.
Yeah, and if folks out there have not seen the documentary that the Grizzlies have done and released about Mark, you need to check it out. It's really good. There's a lot of interesting stories and information in there, and they this isn't just like they take you behind the scenes on some things when Mark was acquired. The stuff with Powell and how badly Powell was trying to get Mark here with him is pretty interesting, and the efforts they were making in that draft to chase Mark, and then when they didn't, Powell's telling Chris Wallace to trade for him, and when Chris Wallace says they want $500,000, Powell says, just can you take it out of my salary? Like Powell was doing everything he could to get Mark here with him, which makes it even more weird that they end up trading Powell to get Mark here. And as Powell said, he wasn't real happy when they told him that was the move they had made they were getting Mark in that trade. To the efforts to then sign Mark and actually get him here from Spain, and Powell's role in that as well, when that came up, and the money they were paying Mark, to some of the stuff Mark's got a lot of interesting stories in there about various things and how angry he would get at various stuff and things. But it's almost, it's like hour and a half, 2 hour long thing. Those guys, Michael Blevins, the whole group over, they do some awesome stuff. But this thing, it is really well done, and it's it's also interesting to see some of the old faces from players to staff members, like in various little clips. You're like, oh gosh, I forgot that guy was here, and all that stuff. But it's check it out on YouTube. It's definitely worth the time. It's very well done, and a lot of interesting information in it.
I haven't seen it yet. I've heard so much about it and so many positive things. As you said, Blevins, that guy wins multiple awards every single year. But where can I catch it? You said on YouTube?
Yeah.
Okay. And so I heard stories, as you were alluding to, with Marc Gasol and his brother, and the whole situation of trying to get Mark here, and then they end up being traded, not exactly for each other, but both involved in the trade. I just thought, and I still believe, that Pau Gasol was underappreciated in Memphis and doesn't get his just rewards. And even though it's a business and you always hear about that, I just don't think he was treated well, to be honest with you. Yet Mark comes in, and as a professional, I'm sure he's upset because those guys have a close bond. He's able to do what he did with the Grizzlies, a guy who was here as a kid going to school at Lausanne while Powell was playing for the Grizzlies. It's a terrific family, the Gasol family, and Mark. Just I thought both Powell, when I had a chance to talk to him and interview him and it was more. We had more accessibility back then. I just thought he was great, and then I thought Mark was great. Going in the locker room and just he would hold court. He was fantastic. I miss those days, not being able to really do it now because getting up so early for this show. But I am looking forward.
You're briefly in it.
I am.
I think it's from the. I think it was from the announcement of the Grizzlies coming here. That you were up on, like I saw you at one of the little. You were on there for a second or two.
That was a long time ago. It's amazing how many years have passed.
I think that's where it was that I saw. But yeah, it's funny just to see various clips, like some of like they show some like the draft room stuff. I'm like, gosh, I forgot that guy was here. And like there's various either from Grizzly staff members or other people that just kind of appear that you'll see in a little clip. You're like, oh man, and that's right, that dude was here.
And I'm surprised. Again, I haven't seen it, but from what you just said and what I've heard from other people talking about it, why would they even have the camera in the draft room? Because that's when you are, it's behind closed doors. You never see that public, and now you're going to have clips of that public, because it's everything is not so much secretive because within the organization, they all know what's going on. But one guy may want one player and one guy may want another player, and it might get heated. I love it. I think that's fantastic. I would love to see all that every time the chance to get inside, not literally, but inside the room during meetings for the draft and then draft night. I mean, there's nothing better than that. But I heard that, you go back to Tony Barone Sr., who was it Tony Barone Sr. that was adamant about taking Steph Curry? Was he at that same time period? Yeah. And then Michael Heisley was the one that was so much against taking Curry.
They go through the whole Hasheem Thabit trade and Chris Wallace, what's he called? I think he called it a horrendous decision. I think he said we made a horrendous decision, not a bad decision, a horrendous decision.
Which is true.
And
who did he want to take?
I can't. Well, the thing was they weren't. Was it Lionel? I can't remember who said they didn't. They were going to take Curry at 2. And I think it was Lionel said, well, like how about trading back?
Right.
Yeah.
I think it was
taking
Lionel.
him later. But Heisley loved Thabit. And they didn't really get into why Heisley loved Thabit. I mean, like who else was on that side of things and all of that stuff.
And Chris was a company man, so I'm sure, Michael said he wanted Thabit. Wallace was like, okay.
But then when they talked about it, then they went into the whole thing about that training camp, like how Mark just took it personally and was like just dominating to be in that camp to show dude, I don't like why you guys drafted this dude number 2 overall. If you think he's coming in and being the starter over me at center, y'all are crazy. And just annihilated him. And everybody was just kind of everybody talking about what you could just tell Mark was out there to basically embarrass Hasheem Thabit, and it was. But now they go deeply into that again. There's it's and Raider Corey says it's an hour and 42 minutes. I knew it was somewhere in that range, but it is. There's a lot of just interesting information. A lot of these you get you watch them. It's just kind of a whole thing about their career fluff piece. I'm like, this has interesting information and some of the just how competitive. We all knew how competitive Mark was, but when you start hearing some of the behind the scenes stuff of just how competitive Mark was and how angry he would get at various things when other people were happy, it's really interesting to see.
I can't wait to see it, and it does not surprise me whatsoever, the competitiveness of one Marc Gasol. And it's interesting, we've come full circle because this year with the draft, we'll find out where the Grizzlies draft once they have the draft lottery. But depending on where they draft and where he is, we're talking about another Connecticut big man, right? Part of this, and it's a small part of the documentary, is the beat and that draft and Marc Gasol's reaction. But it was an absolute disastrous pick. But in hindsight, certainly, but when they made the decision, I remember saying, oh, it makes sense. Here's this dominating big man. Well, now we turn around here while the big man has changed in the NBA and Klingen's more, a modern, quasi-modern big man. He is going to certainly be considered. And it's a Connecticut big man. It's a Connecticut 7-footer.
There was also the story of, was that 2009 or whatever, where they pulled Mike Conley from a game because they were trying to trade him. And after the game, Mark came in the locker room and was like, what's going on? Like, what happened to you? And he's like, they're trying to trade me. And Mark's like, no. He said, no. And grabbed Ron Tillery and was like, this is stupid. This is dumb. I don't know what they're like. I mean, Mark just like, it's just hilarious, like how he would just react to things and like didn't care. Like he was like, I don't care. He grabbed Ron Tillery, like, this is a dumb trade. I don't know what they're trying to do. Like I just love, like, it's just funny to hear those and how Mark was like, no, they weren't. There's no way I was going to let them trade Mike Conley.
Oh, he wasn't backing down to anybody. No way.
Also, he followed up yesterday. He was talking to Chris Vernon, and he said that it's like once he said that I think he was about to get traded out right after those comments too. So, yeah, but they didn't. So
he did. He had no. Like
filter?
He didn't care. Like there was nobody in the organization that scared. Like he didn't. Like he's like, dude, I will tell you exactly what I think of your stupidity if that's what it takes. Like he had no care whatsoever. If he didn't want a move to be made or whatever, he was not. Whether it was be in the huddle, like yelling at a coach on the court, yelling at a teammate, or if the front office was doing something like, he had no problem whatsoever just telling people like, this is dumb.
And a rookie, to say the least, man.
Yes.
Well, this Saturday, the ceremony for Marc Gasol, and there is now a great possibility. Now, I don't know what their plans are of how much they want to use Joel Embiid and how many minutes and things of that nature, but Embiid did return yesterday for the 76ers. They are the opponent for the Grizzlies on Saturday night, and last night Embiid went for 24 points, and the Sixers, looky here, the Sixers with Embiid are pretty good. 109-105 over Oklahoma City. I know SGA did not play for the Thunder, but I'm sure the Sixers and Sixers fans alike ecstatic about having Embiid back. So, again, I don't know what the Sixers' plans are, but we could see one of the great centers of today's basketball on a night when the Grizzlies celebrate one of their great players in Marc Gasol.
Yeah, they play every other day, basically, so I don't know what their plan is. I mean, they played him, I think, 29 minutes last night, which was a little bit more than I would have thought they might play him, but I have no idea how they're handling this return from the injury and how much they plan on playing him. So, but obviously makes a massive, massive difference for them.
Couple of other NBA notes before we take our first time out. Rajon Rondo, the four-time All-Star, says he is done. He is retiring from the NBA. Very good career, Rondo. Kawhi Leonard returning to Los Angeles for treatment on a sore knee. Here we go. They need Kawhi Leonard. If the Clippers are to do anything with that star-studded roster, which includes Paul George, James Harden, Russell Westbrook's back, but they need Kawhi Leonard. He's the linchpin, and he's getting his knee checked out. Denver had a wild one last night, beating San Antonio 110-105. Jokic for 42, as he is, just Jokic being Jokic. Wemby a near quadruple-double for San Antonio.
Yeah, he's approaching one of those. He had 23 points, 15 rebounds, 8 assists, 9 blocks last night in the loss. He's going to get one at some point. He may get multiples, but I mean, his block numbers are incredible, and so they lose the game, which is probably perfect for San Antonio fans. Jokic has his big game. Wembanyama goes crazy. Worked out well for everybody.
Giannis has a triple-double, but Milwaukee loses to Washington.
Yeah, and that keeps the Grizzlies' hopes alive of having the worst home record in the league. Big home win last night for Washington. So the Grizzlies have one more home win than Washington and Detroit right now.
So they got something to shoot for. Is that what you're saying?
Well, I mean, again, I have to believe it would be the first time ever that a team has gone from the best home record to the worst home record in back-to-back seasons. I can't imagine that's ever happened in the NBA. So they got a chance to make what I have to believe is history if they could do that.
Houston's fleeting hopes to make the play-in pretty much done. They lose to Minnesota 113-106 on the road, while Golden State beats Dallas despite a triple-double by Luka Doncic, 104-100 Golden State. And here comes Miami. It's about that time of the year, right, for Miami to start to heat it up, to get ready for the postseason. Miami beats New York 109-99. Again, I think it's a good Knicks team if they're all healthy, but right now they're not all healthy.
Golden State plays at Houston tomorrow night, which could basically secure or finish that race and secure them as one of the teams in and set the 10 teams that will be in either the playoffs or play in the Western Conference. There's still a lot of maneuvering to go on, especially in that 5, 6, 7, 8 range. That those teams are very, very tightly packed together. But Golden State already has the tiebreaker over Houston because they won the first 2 games against them this year. So it's going to be tough for Houston nonetheless. If they lose tomorrow night, it pretty much is over at that point in time, and the Rockets can go. But it was nice to see Dylan Brooks, by the way, in the documentary.
Oh, he made an appearance. Okay.
Oh yeah, Dylan was in there talking about Marks. That was good to see that as well. East Coast Wings and Grill, folks, with all the basketball action continue to go on, like the Grizzlies, the NBA, and then it'll be the NBA playoffs, the Final Four, and the championship game of the NCAA tournament coming up. Of course, Major League Baseball, which is underway, and all kinds of action there. Anything that's on, you can watch it all over at East Coast Wings and a Grill while enjoying some great food and great drinks. This Sunday, they've got another crawfish boil going on. So they'll have the crawfish. They'll have live music. It's always a great time and always draws a big crowd to get on over there and enjoy some of that crawfish over at East Coast Wings and Grill. They're doing about one a month this time of year. And this Sunday, they've got one going on. So you can go enjoy some crawfish, or you can still enjoy any of the great wings or other items on the menu. Of course, 24 draft beers on tap, any other drinks you need. The weather looks like it's going to be spectacular, so you can sit out on the patio. That's this Sunday, crawfish boil. Monday nights, they're doing live team trivia as well, so you can take advantage of that as well. Go over there, have some fun, doing some trivia on Monday nights over at East Coast Wings and Grill. Kate Hyde Boulevard off Highway 64 between Lowe's and Walmart. That's where you'll find them, East Coast Wings and Grill.
Just getting started. You're tuned into Sports 56 Mornings with Greg and Eli on Real Sports Talk, Sports 56 at 98.5 FM.
We are Real Sports Talk. Sports 56 WHBQ. Available on your radio dial at 560 AM and 98.5 FM, as well as around the world online at sports56whbq.com. Take us with you everywhere by downloading the Sports 56 app. And at home, just say, Alexa, play Sports 56. Wherever you are, stay tuned in to Real Sports Talk. Sports 56 and 98.5 FM.
Professional football is back as your Memphis Showboats have 5 home games this season, starting with the home opener on Saturday, April 6th at 11 a.m. The Showboats are coming off a strong first year and have added a ton of firepower to the offense, highlighted by quarterback Case Cookus, the 2022 Player of the Year, and the return of fan favorite Vinny Papali. Let's make Simmons Bank Liberty Stadium the best home field advantage in the UFL. For tickets, visit theufl.com. That's theufl.com. Go Boats!
Hey, baseball fans, go yard with BetMGM, the king of sportsbooks. All season long, we're offering top odds on your favorite home run bets, shared $50K Grand Slam jackpots, fast and convenient ways to play same-game parlays, special boosts and tokens, and so much more. From the first pitch to the game-winning fireworks, there are more ways than ever to supercharge your excitement. Whether you want to combine multiple bets for the chance at a bigger payout or place a live bet as the game unfolds, BetMGM has all the home run betting options you could need. Download the BetMGM app, head to the ballpark, and get your piece of MLB action. BetMGM is an official partner of Major League Baseball. BetMGM and GameSense remind you to play responsibly. See BetMGM.com for terms. 21 years of age or older. Tennessee only. Subject to eligibility requirements. Rewards or non-withdrawable bonus bets that expire in 7 days. Gambling problem? Call or text the Tennessee Red Line 800-889-9789.
Chris Price, it's so good to see you. And you have a new business?
Yes, Dave. MetroBuildersMemphis.com. Have you noticed water stains on your ceiling? With storm season here, take a walk around your home or business and look up. Make sure there are no water stains signaling a leak prior to the heavy storms coming in. If you do see signs of water, call me. My team and I will come out, diagnose the problem, and prescribe a fix. Our team of Hague-certified inspectors are waiting to assist with any inspection or repairs you may need. We have 3 crews dedicated to repairing roofs in the Mid-South. As certified Owens Corning and Mule High dealers, we offer 20-year, no dollar limit labor and material warranties that offer hassle-free ownership. That's our hassle-free ownership guarantee. Allow Metro Builders team of professionals to assist you in maintaining your property's integrity and value. MetroBuildersMemphis.com. Your local commercial roof experts. Ask about our commercial roof maintenance agreements. Protect your investment with MetroBuildersMemphis.com. Call me, 901-375-1717. That's 901-375-1717. 375-1717.
Hey, I got a question for you. You hate bending over to put on your shoes? Wish you could just put them on standing or sitting without ever having to touch them? If so, then I have the shoe for you. Introducing new hands-free Skechers Slip-ins. With new Skechers Slip-ins, you just step in and off you go. You don't even need to lace up. So how do Skechers Slip-ins work? Well, there's a special smooth comfort pillow in the heel that helps your foot slide right into place. So just step in them and go. Find new hands-free Skechers Slip-ins for the whole family at a Skechers store, Skechers.com, or wherever stylish footwear is sold.
Springtime is hot wing time, and time for the ultimate hot wing showdown at the World Championship Hot Wing Contest and Festival. Be there Saturday, April 20th at Memphis River Garden Park on Riverside Drive. See over 60 teams fighting for hot wing supremacy, along with live blues, soul, and rock and roll. All in support of the Ronald McDonald House. It's a sizzling day of fiery flavors, live music, and family fun, and you're invited. It's hot wing time in Memphis. Get your tickets now at worldwingfest.com. This is your delicious chance to make a difference.
Ole Miss Rebel Yell is back. The Rebel Yell Hotline Radio Show is back on WHBQ Sports 56 and 98.5 FM. Every Monday night at 6, hear the latest news on your Ole Miss Rebels with Yancey Porter with 24/7 Sports, former Ole Miss defensive tackle Mike Fitzsimmons, Gordon Ford covering SEC Sports Call, and former Ole Miss baseball announcer Gary Darby. From kickoff to free throw to extra innings, your Ole Miss sports on the Rebel Yell Hotline Show right here Monday night at 6 on Sports 56, 560 AM and 98.5 FM. Your Mid-South Sports Station.
Sports 56 traffic.
Good morning. It remains a little bit slow over here on 240 eastbound up by Poplar from that earlier crash. Again, it really jammed up traffic early this morning over here on this side of town. It's also affecting that traffic flow that's coming off Billmore's Parkway westbound onto 240. It looked like a stalled truck over there on 40 East at Chelsea in the Midtown area as that traffic starts to increase up through Midtown, especially on 240 North there at Lamar. 24/7 reliable crane and rigging services here in the Memphis area. Tomahawk Crane and Rigging. I'm Commander Chuck with your on-time traffic.
Now back to Sports 56 mornings on Sports 56 and 98.5 FM. This hour brought to you by the Big Green Egg. Here once again are Greg Gaston and Eli Savoy.
So baby, dry your eyes. Say all the tears you've cried. Us, what dreams are made.
Welcome back, everyone. 7:33 the time. Hour 1 here on Sports 56 Mornings. Greg Gaston, Eli Savoy, and Zach Boyd. So yesterday, aside from the big news of Ryan Silverfield's new deal at the University of Memphis, we also found out that Carl Sharonfont is entering the transfer portal. So if you're scoring at home, that is the third Tiger that still has eligibility that is heading to the portal. Jonathan Pierre and Jalen Young being the other two. Sharonfont follows. We know that David Jones is still contemplating what he's going to do. He did an interview in the Dominican Republic and basically talked about the decision being a tough one. He will test the NBA waters, see what the situation is. So that's still a possibility. I still think it's going to be highly unlikely, but you never know. Nick Jourdain has indicated that he's going to return, and we still don't know about Penny's son. And it seems like it's a slam dunk. He's coming back, right? Well, not necessarily, according to what I've heard. So Ashton Hardaway still making that decision. That's it. That's what you're talking about, coming back. Right now, Nick Jourdain, the only one we know for sure. And again, he could change his mind after indicating to Dave Woloshin in a post-game interview that he was coming back. But Carl Sharonfont, I don't think there's any surprise there. Not much opportunities to get onto the floor this past season.
Yeah, I mean, it's not a surprise when anybody leaves. And that's I don't. With the way that they're doing it, I mean, it seems like at some point it would be really hard just to get any freshman to come in. Because if you're just going to go recruit a bunch of transfers that are going to be the ones that play, and every freshman that does come in doesn't play and then transfers after his freshman year, if you're that freshman, wouldn't you just eliminate that part of the equation and just go to a different school to begin with?
You would think so, right? Memphis does have Jared Harris, who is a freshman, who signed the national letter of intent. So he is a player that is expected to come to the University of Memphis. But as far as the roster, it's very similar to last year when it was just a minimal amount of people that were back, Jaden Hardaway being one, who has now used up his eligibility, Penny's other son, and later in the summer, Malcolm Dandridge deciding to come back. So right now you're looking at Harris and Jourdain. David Jones, we're not sure, and still no decision from Ashton Hardaway, and that is it. Speaking of the portal, John L. Davis has entered the transfer portal. He says he will test the NBA waters, see where it stands, but he will definitely go in the portal. There are mixed reports about Vlad Golden. It was interesting. We had Parth Upadhyay on yesterday, and it was reliable people out there that had already reported that Vlad Golden was going into the portal, and then I think it was somebody affiliated with the school, maybe the school newspaper. It may have been the local paper. I'm not sure, but said that they believe Golden is coming back to Florida Atlantic if he is not going to be drafted where he wants to be, if drafted at all in the NBA. But that's still a little bit suspect whether or not, he didn't really say that. He didn't say he's absolutely coming back to Florida Atlantic. I still think there's a possibility when it's all said and done, he jumps in the portal and ends up with his coach, Dusty May, in Michigan. But John L. Davis is a great pickup for any school out there if he is indeed leaving Florida Atlantic and he doesn't go to the NBA.
Yeah, and I don't know how he will be viewed by the NBA. He certainly can shoot it. Fantastic offensive player, but I don't think he's a first round pick, but probably a second round pick, and I don't who knows what he's looking for there. But certainly he would be, I would think, one of the at least top 2 or 3 guys that are in the portal right now. Like right now, I'd probably make the case that he's the best player in the portal. But certainly he's one of the top 2 or 3, and we'll see who else ends up entering the portal. But he would be a very coveted guy for teams to use their NIL budget on.
There was a report yesterday that Illinois big man, is it Dane Danger?
Mm-hmm.
That he was in Memphis visiting with the University of Memphis. So that was a story that was out there yesterday as well. The numbers are in on the Iowa-LSU Women's Elite Eight game, and as I suspected and many others probably did as well, it is a hoops ratings bonanza. In fact, it is a record for women's basketball. 12.3 million viewers. The Caitlin Clark effect.
Yeah, it's that's a big number. I mean, it's not just for women's basketball. It's the most watched college basketball game ever on ESPN's platform.
Oh, is it really? I didn't know that.
It's the second most watched of any basketball game, including NBA, since 2012.
That's crazy.
This is
good for them.
That's a massive number in the basketball world, especially, and it's the nightcap did, I think, 6.7 million, which that's a great number for women's basketball. But you're talking about losing almost half the viewers that were watching the Iowa LSU game, and it peaked at over 16 million people watching that game. I mean, it's again, she draws a crowd. She draws eyeballs, and again, and everybody knew it would be this massive number. Everybody knew that this was like such a showcase, and Caitlin Clark goes out and shows out, and all those people, and the game again. The game lived up to everything that you wanted it to be when you have this showcase event on television. That again, a lot of people who've never watched women's basketball don't watch women's basketball. Like, you know what? I'll tune into this one. It lived up to the hype, and Caitlin Clark lived up to the hype.
The women's Final Four, the semifinals are Friday. NC State, South Carolina at 6, followed by UConn and Iowa. I would imagine huge ratings for those games as well.
The Iowa-UConn game will do massive stuff, yes. I mean, she is the thing. Like, she is the draw. I mean, you look at the other games, again, they did the other two Elite Eight games did what, like 2-3 million? I mean, and her game's doing over 12 million.
So do you think South Carolina, NC State, despite it being undefeated South Carolina and Dawn Staley, that will like pale in comparison to the they'll benefit by the fact that people tune in
early. They're leading into that game, so they'll get some out of that. But the Iowa UConn game, yes, I would suspect will do way bigger numbers than what the first game will do.
Last night, the men's NIT Final Four, the national semis for their tournament, Indiana State beat Utah 100-90. The Sycamores just telling that NCAA selection committee, you screwed up. You didn't put us in there. Big game for who else? Kareem Abdul-Jabbar, 26 points, 10 rebounds.
Good for the Sycamores.
How about that?
I mean, they're basically playing a home game there. I would imagine, I assume they have a big crowd there. But it's good for them to, you see sometimes when teams feel like they were left out and should have made the NCAA tournament, they don't really care about the NIT. They seem to care. They're playing well and have a chance to win it in their home state. So good for them.
It doesn't prove anything. If they win it, if they don't win it, it doesn't prove that they belonged in the tournament or that they would have made a run. But at least they can feel good about that, and some people can think that way. Seton Hall won the other semi, knocking off Georgia 84-67. And promptly, Greg Sankey, he penalized Georgia. He fined them $1 million for losing in the semifinals and not going on to the championship of the NIT.
Got a text here on the Sissy's Log Cabin listener line from Tennessee Tom. He says, congratulations to Memphis's Mallory Collier on making the Final Four. Played at Barrett's Chapel and Bartlett High School. Plays for NC State. I did not know there was a Memphian on that NC State roster. So, yes, congratulations to Mallory. Good for her.
Leave it to UT Tom, Tennessee Tom, to come through with the Memphis note. Thank you.
Again, we haven't had any Memphis guys who have been on national championship teams in a long time. We have had Memphis girls who have been, and it'll be a tough task for Mallory Collier at NC State to win a national championship. But hey, getting to the Final Four, that's good for them.
And again, with NC State and UConn having both the men's and women's basketball programs in their respective Final Fours, that's pretty incredible. All right, when we come back, a couple of things that I want to get into, including yesterday we were talking about the Grizzlies and the draft, and we brought up the name Reed Sheppard, and I wanted to get your thoughts on him. Also, Joe Denk, who comes on Tuesdays with Dave Woloshin. He's the former general manager over at Channel 2040, and Channel 24 and 30, one of my old stomping grounds, had some really interesting things to say as far as numbers and attendance with Memphis sporting events. I want to get into that as well. And we got some baseball news, including a huge night for the Phillies' Bryce Harper. Before we do all that, I want to tell you about one of our great sponsors. That's Corky's. Corky's Ribs and Barbecue. Been serving up delicious slow smoke barbecue for nearly 4 decades here in Memphis. And of course, they get shipped anywhere around the country. They have specialized in catering during their entire 40 years. So if you want an event catered by Corky's, you want some delicious barbecue, just contact Corky's and they will deliver for you in catering. Whether it's a huge group that you have or even a smaller group, they'll start you out as low as $8.99 per person for their catering services. You can add a third of a rack of ribs for just $6.99 when you purchase a barbecue sandwich, their award-winning catfish plate, or any entree. Party packs start at just $7.49. They have lunch specials every day. You can zip in, go through the drive-thru, no contact delivery, have any of the services delivered to your home or office, or just dine in at any of their 4 establishments: Poplar Avenue in Memphis, Poplar Avenue in Collierville, Germantown Parkway in Cordova. And they're also located in Mississippi, Goodman Road in Olive Branch. Reserve their private party room. They have the private party room at the Cordova and the Olive Branch location. So you got a little graduation party this spring, birthday, anniversary, celebration, anything that's coming up that's special in your life, and you want to have a gathering at Corky's, they can do that for you. Just contact them and tell them what time and date you are looking for. Corky's Ribs and Barbecue, open for lunch and dinner 7 days a week. You're tuned in to Sports 56 Mornings with Greg and Eli on Real Sports Talk, Sports 56 and 98.5 FM.
Add a little fun to your lunch break. Join Johnny Radio for Sports 56 Happy Hour from 11 to 1 every weekday on Sports 56 and 98.5 FM.
You don't have to be an executive to enjoy the Executive Happy Hour at 117 Prime, Memphis's premier downtown dining destination. But you'll feel like one. From 4 to 6 in the afternoon, Tuesday through Saturday, find your way to the bar at 117 Prime, because that's where the Executive Happy Hour happens. And enjoy $1.50 Gulf oysters, $4 domestic beers, $7 house wines, and $7 cocktails, a daiquiri, an old-fashioned, a margarita, or a martini, and soak up the atmosphere at 117 Prime like a big shot.
Now your ideas don't have to wait. Now they have everything they need to come to life. Dell Technologies and Intel are creating technology that loves ideas, loves expanding your business, evolving your passions. We push what technology can do, so great ideas can happen right now. Find out how to bring your ideas to life at Dell.com. Welcome to Now.
I have so many people tell me they hear my ads on this station and that they want to know if I'm really as bad a golfer as everyone says. This is Sheldon Rosengarten with Marks Bensdorf Realtors, and yes, I hate to say I am. I wish I were in my 90s because I could then tell people I shoot my age. But being a bad golfer is not terrible because I devote so much of my time to selling homes to keep my clients happy. Over the many years in the real estate business, I developed a highly successful strategic marketing program, not merely a listing program. Using preparation, presentation, and proper pricing, it works. If you're thinking of selling, talk to 2 to 3 real estate brokers and make sure that I am one of them. Find out why people often say that when you want the job done, call Shell Dunn. That's Shell Dunn Rosengarten, 483-0546 or memphisrelocate.com. Do it now. Shell Dunn, 483-0546 or memphisrelocate.com.
5 Ash Roofing, it's what we do. Roofing and siding, gutters too. We're the pros you can trust to get it done right. Call on us. 5 Ash Roofing, the name to know. 5 Ash Roofing, the only way to go. 5 Ash Roofing, it's what we do. 5 Ash Roofing.
Is that not the corniest thing you've ever heard? Can you believe I paid good money for that silly jingle? Well, the experts say make it memorable, and I think I got my money's worth. 5 Ash Roof Services, proud partner of the Memphis Tigers and the official roofer of the Tigers home team. 5 Ash Roofing, 367-0050, or memphisroofer.com. 367-0050 or memphisroofer.com.
5-Ash Roofing, it's what we do. We're here for you.
Now back to Sports 56 Mornings on Sports 56 and 98.5 FM. This hour brought to you by the Big Green Egg. Here once again are Greg Gaston and Eli Savoy.
Yesterday we were talking about the possibilities with the NBA draft. It's been a while since the Grizzlies and the draft lottery coexisted, but it is what it is this year. So we'll see what happens with the draft lottery, where the Grizz will pick. But Jonathan Givony had moved up Donovan Klinging to number 3 overall, with Charlotte taking him with a chance, he said, to be the number 1 overall pick. We talked about the situation with the center position for Memphis. Obviously, the Grizzlies over the last month or so have been rolling with Jaren Jackson Jr. at that center position. But what moves will they make in the offseason? Will they look to draft a big man? But you're not going to take a big man just to take a big man. And if they don't get lucky and move up, more than likely those guys like Sarr and Klingen are gone. It's too early to take. If you're around 6 or 7, where they're more than likely going to pick, in my opinion, it's way too early to look at somebody like Filipowski. Edey would be a little bit later on. So you brought up, and you're not the only one who has, Reed Sheppard from Kentucky, who had a tremendous freshman year. 6'3" shooting guard who shot. I had a double check with you if this is accurate. 52.1% from 3 for the season. Averaged 12.5 points, 4.5 assists. So he's actually a good distributor of the basketball as well. I guess you could do worse than him. I mean, he's such a baby face, but maybe he's a baby face assassin. Is that a direction you would like the Grizzlies to go in if they don't fall into that position to really take a legitimate center? Even though, again, you've talked about Jackson, you like him at the 5, doesn't mean that they won't go out and get a veteran big man. So what do you think about Reed Sheppard overall? And that would also bring into play Luke Kennard and the team option in the offseason. And I'm not sure what date they have to make that decision by, but if they pick that up, that's $14 million on a shooter when we're talking about the possibility of even drafting a shooter here.
Well, as I've said before, I'm not huge on Reed Sheppard. I like Dillingham better of the 2 Kentucky guys.
How tall is Dillingham? Do you know?
I think they're similar size.
Okay.
But at the NBA level, I like Dillingham a little better. Certainly, Reed Sheppard could shoot the basketball. There's no doubt about that. Like and Dillingham can too. Dillingham was nearly 45% from 3-point range.
Yeah, both 6'3", you're right.
They're 2, both fantastic shooters.
Mm-hmm.
So if they were going that route, I would prefer Dillingham. But again, I'd like, Sheppard certainly. There's a lot of people that absolutely love Sheppard, and he had a great year. He was National Freshman of the Year, I believe. I wouldn't hate that pick by any means.
You always hear best player available, which to some extent, I agree with if that player is so good that you just can't pass up on it. And the rest of the choices you have are not nearly as good. But if it's close, then I think you got to look at need. And what are the biggest needs for the Grizzlies? They need help inside, rebounding, guy who sets screens, things of that nature, and they need more shooting help, especially if Kennard is not going to be here long term, and more than likely he won't. Zach, do you like Sheppard? Do you see them going in that realm, shooting? Do you think it comes down to basically center or shooting guard?
Yeah, I mean, I'm still on BPA because they will be top 10, maybe top 5. So I don't want to just limit myself just to, we got to get shooting or we got to get a big man. Okay. I want to be able to have my options open because I like the kid, the wing from France, the other Zachary guy. I can't pronounce his last name.
Yeah,
I like him more.
I don't know. Yeah, I don't know how to pronounce. I don't know if it's like since it's French, it's probably Risache or something like that. But I don't know. I don't know how to pronounce that.
We'll call him Johnson.
Yeah. So like for me, I like if Klingum is available for the Grizzlies and you take them, if they are in the top 5 and you take them at 5, I'm not gonna be moaning and groaning about it.
Okay.
If Reed Shepard's available and he's your best player on your board, like, okay, cool, I'm fine.
All right.
If Shepard or Dillingham was like 2 or 3 inches taller,
for sure,
then it would be done deal. But then they would be top 2 or 3 if they were if they were 6'5", 6'6".
Do you worry?
If they were Dalton Connect's size, they would be.
Oh, top 2, top 3.
Do you worry about Shepard being able to create his own shot in the NBA? I mean, it's tough for Kennard half the time. And he's taller.
Anybody that's 6'3", I mean,
right.
that's a concern. I mean, at 6'3", can you play alongside Ja Morant? Like that's a small backcourt. It's a really small backcourt. So and Dillingham's the same thing. Like that's the concern I think with both those guys is just being a little bit smaller than what you would like when you've already got a small point guard on your team. Shepard is both of them. You certainly could play the point, so you could use them as that backup point guard to Ja at times. But do you want a rookie as your main backup to Ja Morant at the point guard position? There's a lot to be considered there. Again, if either one of them was 6'5" or 6'6", it'd make the decision very simple. But they are not. They're 6'3", and that changes things.
Still got time to grow. I mean, they're only 19.
Well, that's like they are. Like that's crazy. Yeah. They are still so young, and that's again why. Like if you compare them to a Dalton Connect, if they were Dalton Connect size like that, they would be so far. They'd be ahead of Dalton Connect just because of age thing. But I'll be interested to see where Dalton Connect goes in this whole thing. Some people again, this draft is going to be doing a mock draft for this draft will be impossible because there is such a wide range of opinion on all of these guys. There are guys that you'll see in different mocks. Or somebody might have them at 2, somebody else has them at 17. Like there's just, it's hard to put the pieces of this puzzle together because there's not the clear cut guy.
Yeah,
I mean you could probably look at 10 different mock drafts and see 10 different guys going number 1 overall. Like there's just nobody knows.
Well, maybe not one, but certainly in some instances, but definitely the rest of that top 10. Here's the thing: there's going to be some hits. Somebody out of this class and probably multiple people are going to be stars. It just happens. Every year, you don't have a year where it's a complete wash and nobody's good. It's just being able to identify the right players. But I know we're short on time. Dalton Connect, why wouldn't you take, and I'm just playing devil's advocate here, why wouldn't you take Dalton Connect with his height and his ability to shoot over somebody like Shepard or Dillingham?
Some teams will. Like that's the thing. They might. But again, he's a little bit older than they are. People will look at, NBA loves those 19-year-old guys that could come in. Mm-hmm. Their ability to play the point guard position, teams will look at that. I mean, it depends what you're kind of looking for and what you're looking at.
Yeah, a lot of options. It's going to be very interesting, this draft.
And Dalton Connect on the defensive end, there'll probably be some questions, I guess, there that he'll have to prove in workouts about athleticism and what he can do on the defensive end. That's going to be a question with him.
I would imagine that is with Shepard as well. I'm not so sure about Dillingham, but Shepard as well, I would think.
Well, Shepard and Dillingham both, they played on a team that couldn't guard anybody. There's questions about their defensive abilities.
So why wouldn't a guy like Jamal Shed come into play who can actually defend incredibly well and is pretty good offensively? Just different options out there in what will be, I think, a very interesting draft to say the least. And it's always a gamble in the draft most of the time. It's a gamble. Sometimes there's slam dunks that just work out. But this year it's really going to be a gamble, and who's going to get lucky and who's going to do all their due diligence and maybe come to the conclusion that this is the right guy, and then it pays out. pays off for him.
I mean, you got a guy like Cody Williams, who, like, a lot of people think could be the number one overall pick, who came off the bench for a team that barely made the NCAA tournament. So it's like trying to figure him out. That's all projection, and you could take a big swing and miss with that, or he may develop into a great player because there's certainly a lot of raw athletic ability there that could develop. I mean, again, but some people think he's one, some people think Sarr's one, some people think that
the French guy,
Rissache
Johnson.
I just like saying that now. I'm going to go with that as pronunciation just because I like saying that. He. Some people think he's number one overall. I mean, there's a lot of different possibilities.
All right, later on in the show, we'll get to baseball from last night, including an epic night for Bryce Harper. Also, these numbers that Joe Denk talked about yesterday on Wolo's show, I think are really interesting and worth a topic. But when we come back, we open up hour 2. We're going to talk a little soccer. Lawrence Dockery will join us, and then Jerry Palm on the NCAA tournament, the Final Four. His Boilermakers, one of those teams. That'll be coming up at 8:25. You're tuned in to Sports 56 Mornings with Greg and Eli on Real Sports Talk, Sports 56 and 98.5 FM.
Looking for sports in all the wrong places? Try the Owner's Box Sports Bar and Grill in Lakeland Town Square. Fun, friendly, exciting, and comfortable with wall-to-wall TVs for all your favorite games, 24 taps for all your favorite beers, including NA and local craft beers, and an in-front-of-the-wall full bar for all your other favorite beverages, including a full wine list. Add in an upscale menu, patio seating, daily specials, and events, and you found all your sports in the one right place. The Owner's Box Sports Bar and Grill in Lakeland Town Square, Highway 70.
From the studio that brought you Uncut Gems comes The Iron Claw, the unbelievable true story of the Von Erich brothers, who built a wrestling dynasty. Adele calls it her favorite movie of the year, starring Zac Efron and Emmy Award winner Jeremy Allen White. Get The Iron Claw on Blu-ray and DVD now from A24 in Lionsgate.
Cashback is not available on gas in New Jersey and Wisconsin.
Billy, your gas light's on. We need to stop and fill up.
No way, Jen. Gas around here is too expensive. We can make it a little further.
Billy, listen to your big sister. You don't need to drive all over searching for the lowest gas prices. Do what I do and use Upside.
Upside?
Do you live under a rock, Billy? Upside is the hottest cashback app out there. It's free to download, and you get real cash back for every gallon of gas you buy. I use it all the time, and I've already made around $200.
You can make that kind of cash back just for buying the gas you have to buy anyway?
Yes, I'm looking at the Upside app now, and there's a gas station at the next exit offering 25 cents per gallon cash back.
Okay, I'm stopping to download Upside and fill up my tank. Download the free Upside app now to earn cash back every time you buy gas. Use promo code FRIEND to get an extra 25 cents per gallon on your first tank. You can cash out anytime right to your bank, to PayPal, or a gift card for Amazon and other brands. Just download the free Upside app and use promo code FRIEND for a 25 cents per gallon bonus on your first tank. That's code FRIEND for a 25 cents per gallon bonus.
They're taking care of beerness in Memphis right on the river with Grind City Brewing and all of their great products. Look, this was a dream come true for a father and son duo. And if you have not been to that brewery right on the river, just to the north of downtown, you're really missing something special. And now you can't miss their products. Wherever you go, you see a brand new label. It's clean, it's beautiful, it's distinctive. You'll know Grind City Brewing, and of course you know their products like Poppy's Pills, that great Pilsner, or Tiger Tail, that very creative craft malt liquor. There's the new Thaddeus Amber Lager. That is absolutely a great light beer. There's the India Pale called Godhopper. It's outstanding. And then there's the Belga, the Belgian-style wheat ale. They keep bringing hits at Grind City Brewing.
Uncorked flavor, Corky's barbecue.
Hi, this is Jimmy Stovall with Corky's Barbecue. We have been serving up our legendary barbecue for more than 39 years, right here in Memphis, Tennessee. Whether you're dining in, picking up in our drive-thru, or serving our famous barbecue at your office or home, with Corky's Party Pack, you are the hit of the party. Barbecue pulled pork, baked beans, coleslaw, barbecue sauce, and buns, starting at only $8.49 per person. And as you know, we send plenty of food. You never have to worry about running out with Corky.
Uncorked flavor, Corky's Barbecue.
Hi, this is Jimmy Stovall with Corky's Barbecue. We have been serving up our legendary barbecue for more than 39 years, right here in Memphis, Tennessee. Whether you're dining in, picking up in our drive-thru, or serving our famous barbecue at your office or home, with Corky's Party Pack, you are the hit of the party. Barbecue pulled pork, baked beans, coleslaw, barbecue sauce, and buns, starting at only $8.49 per person. And as you know, we send plenty of food. You never have to worry about running out with Corky.
We are Sports 56, WHBQ Memphis, and W253 DF Memphis. Flynn Broadcasting Stations.
Sports 56 traffic.
Good morning, MPD. Finishing up a couple of earlier accidents. That one we had earlier on 240 East up by Poplar, really backed up traffic, and it could be that way on and off today over here on this side of town on 240 East again between Poplar and Walnut Grove. It remains heavy up through the Midtown area on 240 North coming up past Lamar as it continues to build on 51 coming in from Millington. Hey, Weimer's Jewelry, 7525 Highway 64. They want you to know they are your full-service family-owned jewelry store here in Memphis. I'm Commander Chuck with your on-time traffic.
Now back to Sports 56 Mornings on Sports 56 and 98.5 FM. This hour is brought to you by James Gaddis Jewelers.
Genuine diamonds, baby.
Here once again, Greg Gaston and Eli Savoy.
Welcome back, everyone. 8:04 the time. Hour 2 here on Sports 56 Mornings. Greg Gaston, Eli Savoy, Zach Boyd with you from the Family Leisure Studios. Family Leisure, where family and fun come together. 2120 Whitten Road, just north of I-40. It is currently 48 degrees. It will get up to 58. That's as high as it will get today. Mixture of clouds and sun, but gusty winds, 20 to 30, with winds occasionally gusting over 40 miles per hour. Tonight, partly cloudy skies. We're looking at a low of 43. And then for your Thursday, mostly sunny with the highs back up to around 62, 63 degrees. Hour 2 of the program brought to you each and every day by the great folks at James Gaddis Jewelers. They are your family's jeweler. They will treat you like family. That's why they have so many repeat customers, because of the way they are treated. Obviously, the product has to be good, but the service is extremely important, and how much they care for that jewelry. Even when you walk out of that building, and you have that jewelry, and you go on with your life, they're still concerned, because when you have an issue, it's an issue for them that they're going to take care of. When you need a cleaning, you just bring it in. They will clean that for you. You need a resetting. Fingers swell, they get smaller, you lose weight. You may need the refitting of your rings or watches, whatever the case may be. They can do that for you. They're full-service jewelers. And again, as we always talk about, if you are looking for that engagement ring, you're planning on popping the question this year, head on over to James Gaddis Jewelers. They are your bridal, engagement, and anniversary jeweler headquarters. Personally designed wedding sets, all types of great engagement and wedding rings, all types of prices as well. You're looking for a $50,000 ring, or you're looking for a $1,000 ring, whatever the case may be, they'll have it for you, plus beautiful watches, bracelets, necklaces, gemstones of all types. Romantics will love the one-of-a-kind estate and vintage jewelry, necklaces, earrings, pendants, bracelets, and so much more. It's James Gaddis Jewelers. Well, as promised, time to talk a little soccer. Memphis 901 FC off to a somewhat slow start to this 2024 season, but we also want to talk about the future. Is there a future for Memphis 901 FC in the city of Memphis? We do so with our soccer insider, Lawrence Dockery, who's the writer for World Soccer Talk, but also the host of the 901 Soccer Podcast on Bluff City Media. You can follow Lawrence on Twitter at LDoc93. Good morning, Lawrence.
Good morning, Greg.
How you doing?
I'm doing just fine.
So let's talk a little bit about the team, and then we want to dive into the topic, which was an interesting read from Tim Buckley over at the Daily Memphian in the past week about the future and the whole stadium issue with soccer. But the team is out west. They'll play Sacramento on Saturday. 1-2 to start the season. What have you seen from them so far?
Well, just a quick correction. They already played Sacramento. That was
excuse
past
me.
Saturday.
Excuse me.
Yes. So, like you said, they're 1-2, 1 win, 2 losses on the season. They're at home this Saturday against Orange County at 3 o'clock down at AutoZone Park. And, yeah, it's off to a slow-ish start, you could say. But one of the things that Coach Glass has mentioned is that they're 3 points better than where they were at this point last year. Although, because last year I think their first 3 games were 2 losses and a draw, and both those losses were at home. This year they got a home win against Las Vegas. Jose Bautista, the new owner of the Las Vegas Lights, formerly of the Toronto Blue Jays, if I'm not mistaken, was here. And I think that's the first time an opposing owner has ever come to a 901 FC game, which was kind of cool. But yeah, so the 2 losses, they played a home game against Indy 11, and the first half was not good. The second half was better, but the damage had already been done. They were already down 2-0. They'd already had players sent off. Refereeing in that game left something to be desired. But one of the things that Coach Glass had been preaching during the offseason is that the roster that they have constructed is going to be full of guys that don't quit, that they keep fighting, they don't throw in the towel, they're going to scrap and claw and all of that stuff. And, there were games last year for 901 FC where that wasn't necessarily the case. There were a pair of games where back-to-back they lost by a combined 10-0. And so I don't think that's going to happen this year. The second half of the Indy game, despite the refereeing, despite being a man down, despite being 2 goals down, they scrapped and clawed, and they got a goal back, and they had a chance to tie it in stoppage time and just came up short. And then they had early in the season, this is kind of strange, the USL scheduling is a little bit goofy so far this year, but they had their bye week in the 3rd week of the season, so they had a week off, which worked out well because Knight Pickering was called up for U.S. Youth National Team duty, and he didn't have to miss any games for 901 FC because that came during their bye week. But then they went out to Sacramento, and Sacramento's one of the better organizations in the USL Championship. They went to the Western Conference Finals last year. The year before, they went all the way to the U.S. Open Cup final and were tied with like 10 minutes to go against Orlando City from MLS with a spot in the Champions League on the line. They came up short there, but they're a really good outfit. And 901 FC did not play poorly in that game. They played reasonably well. They had some good chances. Bruno Lapa had a great shot saved kind of towards the end. And again, they just came up just a little bit short. A little bit slow-ish start, but I was very high on this team coming into this season, and I'm still high on them. It's not time to hit the panic button by any stretch of the imagination. If we get into mid-May and things haven't improved, it might be time to start talking and asking some questions. But for right now, I still think this team can have a really good season.
You mentioned Jose Bautista. Is there? Do you have any idea, like why soccer for him? Why he owns a soccer team?
No, that's one of those things that every so often, I feel like maybe more so in soccer than just about anything else, you'll look up and just completely and totally randomly, there is a name that just descends from the clouds that really has never had anything to do with soccer. I remember at one point in time, Mike Piazza is like a part owner of like a 3rd division team in Italy, which is completely and totally random.
But his family's from Italy, right? So, I mean, he's got the connections to Italy.
With a name like Piazza, you would expect that,
well,
yeah.
Yes.
But, no, Jose Bautista taking over the Las Vegas Lights, that was one that I guess he just felt like doing it. I don't have, there wasn't really any rhyme or reason for it. I don't think he's from Vegas. I don't think he ever played in Vegas, but it's Vegas. Why wouldn't you want to own a team in Vegas?
That's like a name that I haven't thought of in a long time, and it's just interesting that he would suddenly, I would think maybe want to get involved with a baseball team, but he's involved with a soccer team. So he becomes the owner of a soccer team.
I did get to share an elevator with him on the way down to the basement after the game, and he's only about my height, but let me tell you what, his arms, like cartoonish, like club arms. My goodness, these things were just massive.
Well, since we're speculating, there's a lot of guys who have played a sport that have a lot of money, have disposable income. They like to get into ownership. Soccer, where he's from, is probably big. Where's he from? The DR?
I believe so.
So, and maybe baseball just a little bit too much out of his reach as far as financially, maybe not a club available, and he wanted to get into ownership, so he jumped into soccer. But either way, yeah, I did see him there. I wasn't there personally, but I saw video of him, and I thought that was really cool. But you mentioned Saturday, Orange County makes the long trip across the country to Memphis as the Memphis 901 FC will try to even the score. What do you see on Saturday against Orange County as a preview?
Well, Orange County is, so far this season, is the number one team in the Western Conference. Now, granted, it's early and it's a small sample size. They've played 4 games to 901 FC's 3. They've got 2 wins and 2 draws. Their draws came against Sacramento and Miami, and their wins came against Pittsburgh and Tulsa. Now, the last time out, it's only a 1-0 win over Tulsa, and Tulsa is, not the best. They're only one place above Memphis in the Western Conference standings. That is something that is still taking some getting used to, that Memphis and Tulsa have been moved from the Eastern Conference to the Western Conference, which just doesn't make any sense to me, but I'm sure there's plenty of Grizzly fans out there that can relate to why are we east of the Mississippi River and in the Western Conference.
Well, let me interrupt for just 1 second, because it is weird, isn't it? So they moved from the east to the west, yet the Memphis Redbirds went from, a few years ago, the Pacific Coast League, which they played in, which is strange for a team in the middle of the country, but it is what it is. And now they're part of the International League. The International League are mostly teams, if not all, I haven't looked at a map, but that are east of the Mississippi. So they go from west to east. A team they share the same stadium with, but a different sport, goes from the east to the west. Isn't it weird how that happens?
Yeah, and the reason, it makes sense, I guess, from the perspective of there were 2 Western Conference teams from last season that folded. The San Diego Loyal and the Rio Grande Valley Toros both folded, and 2 expansion teams were added into the Eastern Conference, so I guess it made sense to move the 2 westernmost Eastern Conference teams out to the west to even out the numbers. But, that's going to, late in this, on any one game, I don't think it'll make a difference, but I think cumulatively over the course of the season, the travel constantly flying out to California, because there's 4 or 5 California teams out in the Western Conference over the long course of the season, could, I don't know that it will, but I guess the possibility exists for it to cause problems down the road.
Well, it also brings up the whole finances topic, because it's not cheap. You're going back and forth, as you said, a lot of trips out to California or wherever it may be. And we have read stories recently in the Daily Memphian about the situation with the stadium that Craig Unger and company that own Memphis 901 FC would love to see happen. But we know that is a complicated topic, to say the least. And right now, it does not appear that they are in the future plans as far as a stadium is concerned. We know that they eventually have to get out of AutoZone Park because they will not be allowed to share that with the Memphis Redbirds. So I don't understand, Lawrence. I read that story in the DM, and I've read remarks from Craig, who I like a lot, but I don't understand why they don't look to Mike Rose, look for some renovations, put in some money as renovations. Maybe they don't have money, but maybe get with the county, add seats out there to that stadium. And I don't know what it seats or what it holds now. Do you know how many you can get in there now to that stadium at Mike Rose?
Officially, the stadium capacity at Mike Rose is 2,500 people, which is about 1,000 less than what 901 FC's average was last year.
Okay, and do you know if there is a minimum in USL Championship? Like, you have to have a stadium with how many seats? Is there any type of rule for that?
I don't know that for sure. I know the Charleston Battery just redid their stadium at Patriots Point in Charleston in South Carolina, and their 23-game average over last season, and bear in mind the Charleston Battery went to the USL Championship last year, their average over the season was 3,085.
Okay,
which is below what 901 FC had last year.
And that's Ben
so
Pierman.
I can't imagine. Yes, and so I don't know that. With the USL is a little bit strange in that they like to put out these official, unofficial proclamations, like the whole stadium thing, and it's only ever reported as in papers or news outlets from cities that have teams, but it's never officially announced by the league. So I guess perhaps they could, but I don't know for sure if they have a minimum seating requirement or whatever.
But let's say, in my opinion, USL champion, probably 4,000. 4,000 seats, I think, is good enough at any stadium. So you got 2,500 roughly capacity at that stadium. You spruce it up, you put some money, you add 1,500 seats, you got 4,000. Kerry Talley, the former fantastic soccer player from the University of North Carolina, Memphis product, I think he runs the show out there at Mike Rose. I don't understand why Craig wouldn't look into using that stadium, putting some money in it, renovating, having that as their home stadium. I think out in the suburbs is where there's more people that play soccer and would go to soccer games rather than going downtown. And I don't need to bring up the issues of going downtown to any event, right? I think it makes perfect sense if you want to retain a team, prosper here in the city of Memphis, and not have to fold up shop. It makes too much sense to me why they haven't explored it. Maybe they have and I don't know about it, but to me it makes sense. Does it make sense to you?
Yes and no. As you know, I am out at Mike Rose probably as much or more than anybody else in this town. What with all the tournaments that I referee out there, so that's one component of it, is that you would have to look at what somebody, one of the parties, either the parties that own and operate Mike Rose or that own and operate 901FC, there would have to be some sort of compromise as far as scheduling because of the sheer number of youth tournaments that go on out there, and the stadium gets used for those youth tournaments.
Yeah, but how many of those youth tournaments are played in the big stadium?
Quite a number of them.
So you move them to the other fields. You move them to the other fields.
Yeah.
I mean, on the days that they play. No big deal.
That's a little bit easier said than done. As somebody who is out there, so those schedules can get quite chaotic. Just as a matter of fact, last month they had the largest tournament in Mike Rose history with 287 teams. Or something like that, and those were dawn to dusk and then some days.
Okay, but you could schedule around things. You have weeks where you're away during the. I'm just What I don't want to hear in this city is what we hear a lot is excuses, and to me it just makes. I know he wants a new stadium. It's not going to happen. It's not. It's unfortunate. It makes sense. You have a stadium that could be enhanced out there to be your home. You could still have your offices at AutoZone Park. What is it, 2025 when they have to be out that they can't play on the baseball field? So to me,
the unofficial deadline, like I said, one of those official/unofficial USL proclamations is the unofficial deadline is the 2026 World Cup.
Okay. So they got a couple of years to get it done, but good luck if they're going to get financing for the stadium. I wish they do. I hope, again, I like Craig and I like the soccer and I want the soccer to stay. But the people in the suburbs are the ones that go to the games and play the sport, and it makes sense to have it out there. They're not going downtown. It's not happening. It used to at the beginning, but now with crime the way it has risen, with parking and the prices and everything that goes with it, it's a headache for people. They may not want to admit it. Some will. It makes perfect sense to me to have it out there, and I'm surprised that they have not had conversations about that.
Well, I'm sure, based on conversations that I've had, they are exploring any and all options, and they want the actual soccer stadium, like the new stadium, and I don't blame them. I would like that too, because it opens up the possibility for hosting so many type of events.
Yes.
And when I interviewed Craig in November, well, I don't know that I would want a Lamborghini, to be perfectly honest, but it does open up the possibility. Having your own stadium opens up a lot more possibilities that you don't have if you play at Mike Rose.
All right, Lawrence, we got to roll. We're out of time. Always appreciate it. Keep up the great work. I'm not sure if you got any articles coming up soon, but when he puts them together, they are terrific. It's World Soccer Talk, and he's also the host of the 901 Soccer Podcast on Bluff City Media. Check it out. He's Lawrence Dockery. Follow him on Twitter at LDoc93. Enjoy the game on Saturday, Lawrence. We'll talk soon.
Talk to you later.
Take care. It makes sense to me, Eli. I don't know about you. If you want to keep the team. Now, again, if you can find ways to find revenue stream to build a new stadium, great. I wish to God they can. But it doesn't seem like it's going down that avenue. Why not utilize what you have out there in the suburbs?
Yeah, I do not know. I don't believe they're going to get a new stadium. I don't think that's going to happen. I don't. I know nothing about micros. Never been there.
You've never been to Mike Rose?
No, so I know nothing about it.
I have.
Doesn't it make sense?
It makes sense because it's the larger stadium out there.
Right, and you just enhance it. You add more seats. It's easy in and out. You can work around scheduling with all the other tournaments that you have. They can have their home offices still at AutoZone Park. That's not an issue. And in the suburbs, they're going to get bigger crowds. They're just going to get bigger crowds. That's all there's to it.
I will want to know, like, if it's possible for 901 FC to get the Coliseum for $1, so we can just
don't go
convert that whole area.
Don't go there. When we come back, Jerry Palm on the NCAA basketball tournament. The Final Four is set. You're tuned into Sports 56 Mornings with Greg and Eli on Real Sports Talk, Sports 56 and 98.5 FM.
You already know you can listen to Sports 56 anywhere with the Sports 56 app or at sports56whbq.com. But you can also watch us daily with live video of all of our shows on Twitter, Facebook, YouTube, and Twitch.
Is your home screaming for an upgrade? Listen closely because Choate's Air Conditioning, Heating, and Plumbing is about to make your day. First up, say goodbye to cold showers and hello to endless hot water with our tankless water heater upgrade. Not only does it save space and energy, but it also keeps the hot water flowing exactly when you need it. And here's the kicker. Switch from your old tank to a sleek, efficient tankless water heater now, and Choates will hand you a $500 credit. Yep, you heard that right. $500 back in your pocket. But wait, there's more. Clogged drains are a hassle no homeowner wants to deal with. With Choate's special offer, get your drains cleared for just $93 or it's absolutely free. That's our guarantee to make it drain or you don't pay a dime. So why wait? Call Choates today at 347-8086 or visit us online at choateshvac.com. And remember, Choates, let our family serve your family.
Visit Frontier Western Store today for new shirts and boots. Frontier is your top Carhartt store in the Mid-South. There's thousands of in-stock shirts and jeans. They have the classic K87 pocket tee in every color they make, including new ones just released. Available small to 4X. Want new jeans? Frontier has you covered with super tough work denim by Carhartt. And you've got to check out their selection of Ariat jeans for men, women, and children. You'll love how easy it is to find the size and style you need. Have you seen Frontier's remodeled world-famous boot showroom? It continues to expand. New styles by Ariat just arrived, plus plenty of in-stock proven classics too. Whether you need work or dress boots, trust that Frontier's the place to come. See thousands of pairs of Ariat boots and thousands more by Dan Post, Corral, Durango, Rocky, Twisted X, and others. And Frontier's pricing is lower than online and chain stores, so you know just the local shop to visit. Frontier Western Store, 5880 Goodman Road in Olive Branch, and on the web at frontierwesternstore.com. Locally owned and operated since 1967.
You or someone you know or care about has dealt with a difficult divorce. When facing divorce, you need the attorneys at Rice Law. Nick and Larry Rice lead the firm with 3 generations and 7 decades of experience. Located in Memphis, serving the entire state of Tennessee and North Mississippi. Rice Law is who you need to call. Simple or difficult divorce, they know how to handle it. Call Rice Law at 901-526-6701, or for more information, visit them at aboutdivorce.com. That's aboutdivorce.com.
Cashback is not available on gas in New Jersey and Wisconsin.
Billy, your gas light's on. We need to stop and fill up.
No way, Jen. Gas around here is too expensive. We can make it a little further.
Billy, listen to your big sister. You don't need to drive all over searching for the lowest gas prices. Do what I do and use Upside.
Upside?
Do you live under a rock, Billy? Upside is the hottest cashback app out there. It's free to download, and you get real cash back for every gallon of gas you buy. I use it all the time, and I've already made around $200.
You can make that kind of cash back just for buying the gas you have to buy anyway?
Yes, I'm looking at the Upside app now, and there's a gas station at the next exit offering 25 cents per gallon cash back.
Okay, I'm stopping to download Upside and fill up my tank. Download the free Upside app now to earn cash back every time you buy gas. Use promo code FRIEND to get an extra 25 cents per gallon on your first tank. You can cash out anytime right to your bank, to PayPal, or a gift card for Amazon and other brands. Just download the free Upside app and use promo code FRIEND for a 25 cents per gallon bonus on your first tank. That's code FRIEND for a 25 cents per gallon bonus.
Yo, Mark, long time no see. You still down at Dyer's?
Man, I'm not down at Dyer's. I'm out at Collierville Historic Town Square.
When'd you move out there?
We've been out there for about 13 years. We've got the shops, the park, we got the train the kids like to play on.
You still cooking those burgers the old-fashioned way?
Man, we're still flattening out those hamburger balls on a slab of marble and skillet frying them the old-fashioned way like they've been doing for 100 years.
Dude, you still have those onion rings.
Man, they're fantastic. Hand-breaded, served up just right.
I loved those milkshakes. Please tell me you're still doing those.
Man, we are hand-dipping those shakes, putting them in the old glass in the shake tin, served the old-fashioned way.
You got any new items out there I need to know about?
We're just doing a lot of gourmet sandwiches. We've got farm-raised catfish straight out of the Delta. We've got some hot tamales from Pasquale's Tamales out of Helena, Arkansas.
Man, are they served in the husk?
What those guys like to say, they're so good, you'll suck the shuck.
Go see my buddy Mark at Dyer's Cafe in Collierville's historic town square.
Chris Price, it's so good to see you. And you have a new business?
Yes, Dave. MetroBuildersMemphis.com. Have you noticed water stains on your ceiling? With storm season here, take a walk around your home or business and look up. Make sure there are no water stains signaling a leak prior to the heavy storms coming in. If you do see signs of water, call me. My team and I will come out, diagnose the problem, and prescribe a fix. Our team of Hague-certified inspectors are waiting to assist with any inspection or repairs you may need. We have 3 crews dedicated to repairing roofs in the Mid-South. As certified Owens Corning and Mule High dealers, we offer 20-year, no-dollar limit labor and material warranties that offer hassle-free ownership. That's our hassle-free ownership guarantee. Allow Metro Builders team of professionals to assist you in maintaining your property's integrity and value. MetroBuildersMemphis.com. Your local commercial roof experts. Ask about our commercial roof maintenance agreements. Protect your investment with MetroBuildersMemphis.com. Call me, 901-375-1717. That's 901-375-1717. 375-1717.
Ole Miss Rebel Yell is back. The Rebel Yell Hotline Radio Show is back on WHBQ Sports 56 and 98.5 FM. Every Monday night at 6, hear the latest news on your Ole Miss Rebels with Yancey Porter with 24/7 Sports, former Ole Miss defensive tackle Mike Fitzsimmons, Gordon Ford covering SEC Sports Call, and former Ole Miss baseball announcer Gary Darby. From kickoff to free throw to extra innings, your Ole Miss sports on the Rebel Yell Hotline Show right here Monday night at 6 on Sports 56, 560 AM and 98.5 FM. Your Mid-South Sports Station.
Sports 56 traffic.
Good morning. I'm looking at a multi-car crash on 240 westbound here at Lamar. It's got traffic really slow now between Mount Moriah all the way up to Lamar. It's just crawling going 240 westbound. Be aware of a big backup over here because of this crash. It was already slow on 240 east up by Poplar. Give yourself extra travel time over here on this side of town for at least the next 30 minutes or so. Weimer's Jewelry, located 7525 Highway 64, is your full-service, family-owned jewelry store here in Memphis. I'm Commander Chuck with your on-time traffic.
Now back to Sports 56 Mornings on Sports 56 and 98.5 FM. This hour is brought to you by James Gaddis Jewelers.
Diamonds are forever. Woo!
Here once again, Greg Gaston and Eli Savoy.
It is Final Four time on Saturday in Phoenix, Purdue. North Carolina State, the Boilermakers, an 8.5-point favorite. Alabama and Connecticut with the Huskies, an 11.5-point favorite. You know who will be there. It's time for Jerry Palm.
It's time for Sports 56 Mornings Weekly Chat with Jerry Palm, college football and basketball writer and bracketologist for CBSSports.com. Here are Greg, Eli, and Jerry.
He is Jerry Palm, CBS Sports, CBSSports.com. You can follow him on Twitter at JPPalmCBS. Catch him every Wednesday here on the program during both the college basketball and football seasons, talking with us. JP, congratulations on your Boilermakers for making it this far into the Final Four.
Thanks. Yeah, it's been a while.
How long has it been, 1980?
Yeah, I was a junior in high school watching it on television last time we were there. So, yeah, it was pretty exciting. I'm up in Detroit. It was Mackey North. Although Tennessee fans were as well represented as you could expect, given who they were playing and where you were. But, you know, so their crowd was up there and they were pretty good. And the team was pretty good. But, yeah, I guess it's just Purdue's year.
Purdue was better. You know what I was shocked to hear? I did not know this. The great Gene Cady never coached Purdue into the Final Four?
No. So,
wow.
So like I said, I was a junior in high school in 1980. My freshman year at Purdue was Gene Katie's sophomore year.
Okay.
So, no, he had teams that were good enough, but, it doesn't always go your way. Probably the most frustrating one was, I want to say 2000, when Purdue played Wisconsin in the Elite Eight. I think it was a 6 versus 8 game. The seeds. Purdue was a 6. And Wisconsin won the game, and that was the 4th time that season that Purdue had lost to Wisconsin.
How far did they go with Big Dog?
They lost in the Elite Eight to Duke. That was a 1 versus 2 game. Grant Hill was on Duke. They had destroyed Kansas. Glenn had 44.
God,
and Conzo Martin had 29 in the game against Kansas in the Sweet 16. And then Glenn hurt his back on the off day and was like 6 for 22 from the floor and just wasn't himself. And it wasn't good enough to beat Duke.
He was so
Grant
good.
Grant Hill hit a shot from the logo. That game was at Knoxville. Because I remember the Tennessee logo. And Grant Hill hit a shot from the logo. And then that's when Purdue pretty much knew they were done.
For as great as Big Dog was, and other greats that have played at Purdue, is Zach Edey the greatest player to ever play at Purdue?
It's funny. I'm going to write about that this week. I think you have to say he is. Is he going to? He's not the best NBA prospect, although he would have been if he played with Glenn Robinson, for example.
Right. Yeah.
They might have been the top 2 picks in the draft. Glenn already was the top pick in the draft. But Zach has rewritten the record books at Purdue. He's now the all-time leading scorer, a record that had lasted since 1969. He's the all-time leading rebounder. He helped take Purdue to a Final Four. It's hard to deny him, but Glenn Robinson, obviously an elite level player. Rick Mount was
great
if
scorer.
He had played with Pete Maravich, would have been celebrated like Pete Maravich. And John Wooden played for Purdue and was a 3-time All-American. So, but that and was on our only national championship team, the leader of our only national championship team. So there have been a lot of great players at Purdue. It's hard to compare guys from different eras, but I think you'd have to go with Zach.
Robinson played 2 years?
Yes.
So
he was Prop 48, so he had to sit his freshman year, and he played 2 years.
And was he National Player of the Year?
He was, yeah, his junior year. Last year.
I mean, if Edey's a back-to-back National Player of the Year, that's just hard to that's hard to compete with.
And especially when you consider he's like a unicorn. Glenn Robinson, by the way, the last player in college basketball to average 30 and 10 for a season. So that's 30 years. Nobody's done that since. So, his record at Purdue is just remarkable. And it took something special to even consider surpassing that. And I think Zach probably has. But I'm going to see what Painter has to say about it, because Painter played with Robinson and, of course, Coach Zach. I'm not going to ask him to choose, but I'm going to see what he has to say.
All right, so you have Purdue and you have Connecticut, the two most, or you could argue Houston, but the two most dominant teams in college basketball. Obviously,
those 3 were.
They were. And Houston obviously had the injury to Jamal Shead, and that crushed them. But Purdue's there, Connecticut's there, and then you have 2 very good stories. One is Alabama, we'll talk about in a second. But the great story is, of course, NC State. And I've said it several times on the show. I refuse to call NC State a Cinderella. This is a pretty good basketball team that just struggled for whatever reason it is and got red hot and have been carried by a number of players, led by the very jovial, smiling, happy DJ Burns, who people have fallen in love with. And I think that they will go in. People will think of them as the Cinderella. They will be the feel-good story. But what chance do they have, in your opinion, against your Boilermakers?
Well, I mean, DJ Burns is going to have to find another way to contribute, and he does contribute in ways other than scoring, because he's not going to score much against Zach. And he might be in foul trouble because he gets in foul trouble against players that aren't as good as drawing fouls as Zach Edey is. So it's an uphill climb. They're going to need Purdue's help to win. It's been that kind of year, and it's just a terrible matchup. I think their guards can have some sway with Purdue's guards. That'll be a good matchup. If North Carolina State's guards can dominate, that would give them a shot. That's what it's going to take. They can't really count on DJ Burns to carry the team in this game because it's probably not going to happen.
How does he avoid fouling? Although people would argue that he does. Yes.
Well, one thing is first of all, he's gotten better at learning how to defend without fouling. The advantage of being 7'4" is that you don't have to go vertical to try and block shots.
You don't have to leave your feet.
Get off the ground.
Right.
So if you can just stand with your arms straight up, and sometimes he basically concedes hoops to avoid fouling. He'll stand there with his arms straight up. He'll make you go around, and he'll try and, obstruct as best he can, but he's not going to jump to foul. So sometimes he just gives something up to avoid the foul. But he actually is focused on not fouling. And there's just ways to do that. You don't reach, you don't jump, you don't get yourself in vulnerable positions, and you don't usually commit fouls. So, but that's something he's been practicing. I mean, that's something that he works on, is defending without fouling, and he does a pretty good job of it.
By the way, I just saw it. Does Glenn Robinson has a son committed to Purdue in this class?
Yes, that's correct.
Little dog.
Is he like a big time player?
Yeah, he's the Georgia Player of the Year.
Okay.
His last name is Harris. It's
Jakari. Yeah.
Jakari Harris. Yeah. So obviously his mom's name. He has, of course, Glenn Robinson III had another son, Jeelan. Those two went to high school with my older boys. Same high school at the same time as my older boys, although they didn't know him. But and then Jeelan played football at Purdue, and of course Glenn played basketball at Michigan and in the NBA. So, but yeah, so this is another son with a apparently different mother, and he's a player. No surprise.
Apparently Jeelan plays for the St. Louis Battlehawks in the UFL.
Who?
Plays for the St. Louis Battlehawks.
Who did?
Jeelan.
Oh, Jeelan did, yeah.
Currently
and then he went to rugby. He switched to rugby.
Well, this says he currently plays defensive tackle for the St. Louis Battlehawks. I'll have to check the Battlehawks roster.
So he must have come back to football then.
That might be outdated. I don't have to check the Battlehawks roster.
Jeelan Robinson holds the state of Indiana wrestling record for heavyweight, won 150 matches in a row, never lost in high school.
How many sons does he have?
3 that I'm aware of.
So was Big Dog in Detroit?
He was drafted by the Bucs.
Was he there rooting on Purdue?
I did not see him.
Okay.
I didn't see him there.
So maybe he'll be at the Final Four in Phoenix.
Yeah, I don't know. He does show up every once in a while, but I don't know. I don't know. I'm sure they'll find the camera on him at some point if he's there.
I'm sure they will.
A lot of former players around last weekend, and I'm sure even more this weekend.
The other matchup, obviously, UConn just continues to destroy everybody in their wake over a 2-year stretch now. Alabama.
I think they were a little more challenged last year, which is not saying much because they haven't been challenged at all this year.
Well, they won all of them by double digits. So Alabama has the ability to go out and make a whole bunch of threes. I mean, but do you give them any chance?
If they make their shots, yeah. If they have one of those, magic level type shooting games, the problem is you can't even have a mild slump because they turn defensive rebounds into points better than anybody. I mean, and faster than just about anybody. So, they can't. It's like if you get a shooting slump, all of a sudden it's like a 12-0 run and you're in a hole. So they've got to be consistent. They've got to. I think they have to attack the basket at times and try and get Klingon in foul trouble, even though he doesn't play a ton of minutes anyway. But then they're going to have to defend. Because UConn's guards are really good. So it's a tall task. But Alabama's tough to play against because they play with such pace. And not that UConn doesn't play fast, but I don't know how many teams play faster than Alabama, but it can't be many. So there'll be a challenge, but basically that's a team that lives by the 3 and dies by the 3. So, they're going to have to live by it, and they're going to have to live well.
Jerry, do you have any idea if Vegas's line, 11.5 Connecticut, 8.5 Purdue, that adds up to 20, if that is the most as far as a point spread of the 2 favorites versus the 2 underdogs in a Final Four?
I don't know. I'm not really the best person to ask about historic point spreads.
Yeah, I can't imagine there's too many that are more than that if they are.
Yeah. You know, and it's and as much as I like and appreciate what Alabama and NC State have done this year, I think the game that people want to see is Purdue and Connecticut.
Okay, so let's speculate a little bit. Let's assume a little bit. Now we're not talking about DJ Burns. We're talking about another 7-footer in Donovan Clingan and a matchup of mountain men. How would you take off the Purdue visor? How do you see that one?
Yeah, that's interesting, and I've been saying this pretty much all along, that the one team that may have a guy that can guard Zach one-on-one where you don't really need to help a lot is Connecticut because of Clingan. So the only problem for Clingan, I mean, obviously you have to not foul and stay in the game, but like I said, he's a guy who doesn't play a ton of minutes anyway. So, he's not going to be the solely responsible for Edey. And so I think the matchups become, and it'd be different if he could play 35 minutes. But I guess he just can't. So, but when he's in the game, how that matchup goes could have a lot to say about who wins this game. UConn's guards are better. Purdue's guards are good. UConn's guards they've got two guys that are going to the NBA. So, that's going to be a hard matchup for Purdue. So they're going to really need a lot from Zach if they play UConn. They're going to really be depending on him because I think the guards could struggle at times in this game. And Mason Gillis is going to have to play really well and shoot well because it gives them 4 3-point shooters and makes them harder to defend.
You know what the most impressive thing to me is about Zach Edey is that he played nearly the entire game. And while there are plays where he's obviously winded, the guy, as big as he is, getting up and down the court is impressive.
His conditioning is ridiculous. You know who else played almost all the entire game is Braden Smith.
Right.
Braden Smith has had 3 or 4 games where he's played all 40 minutes this year.
But I can understand him. I can't understand Edey at 7'4".
Yeah.
His head above the rim, pretty much. Yep. I don't get it. I mean, that's unbelievable conditioning.
Well, and especially when you consider the beating he takes.
Right.
I mean, he's in a high contact, and he dishes out some too. I mean, it's not all one sided, but he comes down the floor and he posts up and he's getting the double arm bar and he's getting grabbed and he's getting the knee up the butt. Every possession on the offensive end before he ever sees the ball. And that's that's just the nature of being him. The other thing though that's really impressive about it is that none of it phases him. It's like you never see him get upset about officiating, hardly ever. You never see him get frustrated with the other players doing whatever it is they have to try to do. Nothing ever really phases him. For a guy who takes and is in a very physical part of the game, never really gets bothered by it. Mm-hmm. It just accepts it as part of the thing, and he's got a really calm demeanor all the time, but in particular when he's getting beaten on in the post.
Well, I know you'll be working / enjoying your alma mater. Have fun. When you heading out to Phoenix?
This afternoon.
All right. Safe travels. We'll talk to you next week. We'll be talking about a natty, and good luck to your Boilermakers. Thank you, JP.
Right. Thanks.
Appreciate it.
Jalen Robinson played for the Battlehawks last year. He's not on this year's roster.
That's.
I had no idea that he had a son playing football.
No, but it's not shocking that there you go when you got a unbelievable athletic father, and I don't know about the mom, but you're going to have offspring that are pretty darn good too.
Dude, he was in high school and then in college. That dude, people have no idea how good Glenn Robinson was today. Like that dude, that's a name the kids today probably don't even know, but that dude was insanely good.
I'm trying to remember. Wasn't he really good in the NBA and they got hurt?
He was good at the NBA, yeah. Again, I mean, number 1 overall pick. Yeah, he was dude, he was just I just remember watching him in high school. Gosh. He just like there was nothing you could do. Nothing. The dude just would get if he wanted to get 50, he could get 50. He literally could score basically
called his shot
on every trip down the court. It was just kind of whether he wanted to or not. Fleet Feet, the place to go to get all your running gear. Go over to see the folks at Fleet Feet at either their Laurelwood location in East Memphis or out in Collierville at Poplar and Houston Levy. It's next to the Hueys. You could go in there. They take a look at the way you run or the way you walk, and they get you fitted in shoes that are just right for you. Make sure you got the right size, the right type of shoe. Shoes are a little bit different. Everybody's a little different in the way you run, the way you walk, where you put the pressure on the different parts of your feet. And that's what they're going to make sure is you got the proper shoes for you. Also, any other gear that you need, well, of course, got that taken care of for you. And if you just need advice or about training for races or getting started running, any of that type of stuff, the folks at Fleet Feet are there to help. Go see them either one of their 2 locations. You can also find them online at fleetfeetmemphis.com or on social media where they keep you up to date with all the things they've got going on at Fleet Feet.
The women's tournament may be making changes for next year. That and some baseball when we return for our final segment in hour 2. This is Sports 56 Mornings with Greg and Eli on Real Sports Talk, Sports 56 and 98.5 FM.
Join the voice of the Tigers, Dave Woloshin, for Wolo and Friends. Weekday mornings from 10 to 11 here on Sports 56 and 98.5 FM.
You've been having a good time at Mugshots Grill and Bar in Olive Branch. Soon you'll be having a good time at a brand new Mugshots. Mugshots Grill and Bar is opening their first Tennessee location at 656 West Poplar in Collierville, where you can try one of Mugshots' 19 specialty burgers, including the Mugshot Burger. Finish it in 12 minutes and it's free, plus you get a free t-shirt. So cheers to great food, good drinks, and fun company at Mugshots Grill and Bar, where you're always having a good time.
Are you someone who tries to drive while distracted by your phone? Someone who props it on the steering wheel or peeks down at it for a glance? Or just scrolls and scrolls? If so, you could be the next person to get into a fender bender, get a ticket, veer off the road, or even cause a crash that kills you or someone else. Enough already. Put the phone away or pay. Paid for by NHTSA.
Join us celebrating 26 years of Napa Cafe. Hi, I'm Glenda Hastings, owner of Napa Cafe, and I'm inviting you over for dinner. Treat yourself tonight with a delightful dinner of scrumptious combinations, fresh salads, homemade soups, or maybe start with an appetizer, like our baked Dungeness crab dip with manchego cheese, lemon, garlic, and French baguette toast. Drift into one of our fresh seafood dishes, like the caramelized sea scallops with curry beurre blanc, black forbidden rice, and Thai mango salad. Or our ancho honey glazed salmon with creamy black bean puree, avocado pico de gallo, and jalapeno crema. Maybe you're looking for something cozy and comforting, like our Duroc pork chop with apple brandy demi-glaze and blue cheese bacon mashed potatoes. We have something for everyone. Napa Cafe, open Wednesday through Saturday for dinner starting at 5 o'clock. For reservations, visit our website at napacafe.com. Come join us as we celebrate 26 years of Napa Cafe. I'd sure love to see you.
Did you know that feeling sluggish or weighed down could be a sign that your digestive system isn't working at its best? Taking Metamucil every day can help. Metamucil fiber powders help promote your daily digestive health using a plant-based fiber called psyllium. The gelling action of this special fiber traps and removes waste, so you can feel lighter and more energetic. Metamucil, promoting digestive health for a better you. Learn more at metamucil.com. These statements have not been evaluated by the Food and Drug Administration. These products are not intended to diagnose, treat, cure, or prevent any disease.
Hi, this is Troy Fiveash, owner of Fiveash Roof Services. If you need a new roof for your home or business, we hope to hear from you and will work hard to earn your business. We are experts and certified in residential and commercial roofing, siding, and gutter installation. I have been serving the Memphis area for over 20 years, and now with 2 of my sons working with me, we plan to be here for years to come. So if you need a roof, please give us a call. On a personal note, what a great time it is to be a Memphis sports fan. With the Grizzlies and the Redbirds and 901 FC, not to mention Tigers football and basketball, it's going to be a fun year. Thanks to Coach Silverfield and Coach Hardaway and their staffs for their dedication to the student and athletes, the University of Memphis, the City of Memphis, and us fans. Five Ash Roof Services, a proud partner of the Memphis Tigers and the official roofer of the Tigers home team. Five Ash Roofing, fair, honest, and ethical. 367-0050 or memphisroofer.com. 367-0050 or memphisroofer.com.
Five Ash Roofing, it's what we do. We're here for you.
Now back to Sports 56 Mornings on Sports 56 and 98.5 FM. This hour is brought to you by James Gaddis Jewelers.
Don't you just love it?
Here once again, Greg Gaston and Eli Savoy.
The head of the NCAA women's basketball tournament is pushing to review potential changes to the event's format this summer, a year sooner than previously planned. They were going to talk about it after next year, but they want to make some changes. They want to revisit their decision to hold the first 2 rounds of the tournament at campus sites for the highly ranked teams and to hold its second weekend games in 2 sites rather than 4. You talked about that. I don't know if it was last week, which doesn't make any sense. The campus games, I think they're beyond that too. I hope they make those changes and do it more like the men. They've obviously gotten a lot of exposure. Caitlin Clark won't be around next year, but the product has improved and enough people have seen the product and are now convinced that the women play a good brand of basketball that you can go back or you can go to doing things like that.
Yeah, I don't know. I mean, I don't know what kind of crowds they'll draw in first-round games that aren't on campus sites. I have no idea.
Well, you would think that it would be similar to whether or not your school travels, and it would be similar to other sites. Like in Memphis, the crowds were not particularly great, except for when Nebraska played on the Friday, which...
Well, most places draw fewer fans for women's basketball than they do for men's.
Right.
I mean, asking, again, at least at a home site, one team's got fans. You might have sites where you have no fans. All teams that have fan bases just don't support women's basketball.
Yeah, but maybe they'll start supporting it more. I mean, certainly it's been thrown into the limelight in a positive way, and, we'll see. And it's interesting. I want to get into this when I have more time. I just don't have time, but I don't know if you heard Joe Dank on yesterday, the former general manager of ABC 24 and CW 30. He's with Wallow. He comes on every Tuesday, and he talked about a number of different things, but these numbers are not good. He said that the site here in Memphis for the first 2 rounds of the tournament, 8 different sites, least attended was Memphis, 8 out of 8. Then he talked about the Redbirds last year, attendance, AAA baseball, entire AAA, not just International League. International League and Pacific Coast League. 30 out of 30, Redbirds in attendance. And the Showboats, which again we hope won't be the case, but so far in ticket sales, and we'll have Steve Macy on Friday to talk more about it. Again, I'm hoping they have a great crowd. I plan on being there. I think you will, Eli. I think you'll plan on being there as well. Showboats 8 out of 8 so far as the ticket sales are concerned for their respective teams. So, again, it goes back to with Memphis, there's a lot of reasons why, and it goes back to the conversation we had with Lauren Stockery, and I said, use Mike Rose if you can get it done with the county, figure out a way to refurbishment, enhance the locker rooms, add seats to about 4,000, and have that be their stadium, because their fan base, I guarantee you, is out there in the suburbs where the kids are playing soccer and there's all type of leagues, and it's an easy in and out as opposed to going downtown where people less and less want to go downtown and deal with traffic, want to deal with paying high prices for parking, and obviously don't want to deal with crime either. So, it's not a surprise that is the case. Major League Baseball last night.
Here's a little hint, though. Crime happens in this city other places than downtown.
Not as much as downtown.
There's a lot of parking lots in the suburbs where they would tend to argue.
Or there's no parking lots at all, like where it's free. At Mike Rose. I mean, the thing is, to me, it just makes sense to have that utilized if you're going to keep your professional soccer team. I would bet dollars to donuts the attendance doubles out there. If you get 2,500 here, you're getting 5 there. If you're getting 2 here, you're getting 4 there. That's my opinion about soccer in Memphis. Major League Baseball last night, the Phillies throttled the Reds 9-4. Bryce Harper's back, ladies and gentlemen. His first 3 hits of the season, Eli, 3 home runs, including a grand slam. He knocked in 6.
It's a good night.
It's a good week for most players. But again, he had no hits going into that game. The Yankees lose for the first time.
Thought they were going to go 162-0, but
how about the Brewers?
Not.
The Brewers may go 162-0. They are undefeated. College baseball last night. How about the Memphis Tigers knocking off the Ole Miss Rebels 9-4? Great crowd at FedEx Park at Ron Fogelman Field, thanks to a lot of Ole Miss fans that came out, but certainly the Memphis fans came out. When you play marquee teams, and the Ole Miss being the 2022 national champions, you get enhanced crowds. And it was nice to see a lot of people there last night. Memphis, a big 5-run seventh as they knocked off Ole Miss. Memphis now heads to Houston to play Rice. No longer is it going to Houston to play Houston as they have moved on to the Big 12. Meanwhile, Ole Miss struggling, getting clobbered in a 3-game series by Kentucky at home. Resume SEC play Thursday, Friday, and Saturday at number 1 Arkansas. So it's not the way you want to go in to play the Razorbacks in Fayetteville, kind of limping in there with the struggles the way they have been coming recently for Ole Miss. It is what it is. When we come back, hour 3 of the program, we will talk with DeMichael Cole, as we do each and every Wednesday, on the Memphis Grizzlies, who are back in action tonight against Milwaukee and got a big weekend coming up. And then at 9:30, the Memphian singer-songwriter Drew Holcomb will join us. This is Sports 56 Mornings with Greg and Eli on Real Sports Talk, Sports 56 and 98.5 FM.
Springtime is hot wing time, and time for the ultimate hot wing showdown at the World Championship Hot Wing Contest and Festival. Be there Saturday, April 20th at Memphis River Garden Park on Riverside Drive. See over 60 teams fighting for hot wing supremacy, along with live blues, soul, and rock and roll. All in support of the Ronald McDonald House. It's a sizzling day of fiery flavors, live music, and family fun, and you're invited. It's hot wing time in Memphis. Get your tickets now at worldwingfest.com. This is your delicious chance to make a difference.
I'm Gary York. I'm the service director at Lexus of Memphis. Our service department wants to be more than just a place where you get your oil changed. We do glass repair, windshield replacement, recalibration of your camera and sonar systems, even wheel repair, tire replacement, all the things you would expect from a luxury automotive dealer. Please check out our website. You can schedule your appointment, check out our specials, hours of operation, or if you'd like to do it in person, please reach out to one of our associates at 901-271-5199.
Are you someone who tries to drive while distracted by your phone? Someone who props it on the steering wheel or peeks down at it for a glance? Or just scrolls and scrolls? If so, you could be the next person to get into a fender bender, get a ticket, veer off the road, or even cause a crash that kills you or someone else. Enough already. Put the phone away or pay. Paid for by NHTSA.
eBay Motors is here for the ride. Go ahead, feel your engine. Admire that perfectly installed exhaust. Your vehicle's moving along this freeway like it was made from fresh installs and a whole lot of love. With eBay Motors, you get over 122 million parts to keep it running. And with eBay Guaranteed Fit, they'll be the perfect fit every time. Plus, at these prices, well, we're burning rubber, not cash. Keep your ride or die alive at ebaymotors.com. Eligible items only. Exclusions apply.
At Jason's Deli, when you're dining in or picking up curbside, you can expect wholesome food and no surprises, just delicious sandwiches, crisp salads, and quick quality meals made with the freshest ingredients and no artificial trans fats, MSG, high fructose corn syrup, or artificial colors and dyes. Around here, a lot of thought goes into what we put into our food and what we take out of it, because you're not just taking a bite, you're getting a taste of who we are. New items are constantly being created to expand our menu for all tastes and special diets with vegan and gluten-free options available. Convenience and on-time delivery you can count on. It's just a click away at jasonsdeli.com, so whether you need to feed 5 people or 5,000, the team at Jason's Deli, they have the credentials and the commitment to keep you satisfied. Freshness is nearby at Jason's Deli with locations at Ridgeway in the Park Place Center, Poplar and Highland, Germantown Road in Cordova, and on Goodman Road in Olive Branch. Jason's Deli. It's wholesome food and no surprises.
This Sports 56 traffic report is brought to you by Luttrell Building. They keep you moving.
Sports 56 Traffic.
Good morning. Trying to clean up this wreck over here. It happened a little bit earlier on 240 going westbound at Lamar. There's still a lot of rubbernecking going on associated with this crash as it's in its clearing stages. 240 west. Again, here at Lamar, it's been crawling between Mount Moriah and Lamar going westbound on 240. It remains heavy over here on 240 east up by Poplar. Hey, Weimer's Jewelry, 7525 Highway 64 is your full-service, family-owned jewelry store right here in Memphis. I'm Commander Chuck with your on-time traffic.
We are Sports 56, WHBQ Memphis, and W253DF Memphis, Flynn Broadcasting Stations.
Now back to Sports 56 Mornings on Sports 56 and 98.5 FM. This hour brought to you by Jenkins Floors and More. Here once again are Greg Gaston and Eli Savoy.
Welcome back, everyone. 9:03. Hour number 3 here on Sports 56 Mornings. Greg, Eli, and Zach in the Family Leisure Studios. And again, a big shout out to our new third hour sponsor, Jenkins Floors and More. Family owned and operated local business. They're at 6 East Commerce in Hernando. They also have a store in Little Rock and in Cleveland, Mississippi, and in the future looking at Memphis as well, the metropolitan area. They are really good at what they do, specializing in flooring and carpeting. If it's variety you're looking for, they have it. SPC and WPC vinyls, which are scratch-resistant and waterproof, probably the way you want to go. Ceramic and porcelain tiles, hardwoods by Portercraft, carpeting from Southern Luxury Carpet, backsplashes for your kitchens and bathrooms, plantation shutters, and blinds, too. They sell at wholesale. They skip the middleman. They save you lots of money. Timmy and Rebecca Jenkins started this business 8 years ago in their garage, and because of quality work, the attention to detail, and their pricing, they've earned the reputation of being one of the top flooring companies in the area. So, residential, commercial, that means homeowners, contractors, do yourself a favor, see what Jenkins Floors and More has to offer. Time now to talk some Grizzlies with DeMichael Cole.
2 watches, that's 12. Come through and slam on you. I'm in the air.
It's time to talk some Grizzlies basketball. Joining Greg and Eli is DeMichael Cole, Grizzlies beat writer for the Commercial Appeal. Here's DeMichael with Greg and Eli.
He is DeMichael Cole from the Commercial Appeal. Each and every Wednesday, we do get to talk Grizzlies with DeMichael, and we enjoy doing so, and we do it all year long. You can follow him on Twitter at DeMichael C. Good morning, DeMichael.
What's going on, Greg? How we doing?
Doing pretty good. Do you remember what your win total prediction was before the season for the Grizzlies?
I think it was like low 50s, 40. I think it was 48, 49, somewhere around there.
Yeah. I think everybody was right, like between 47, 48, and like 52, 53.
Mm-hmm. Yep. 25
wins. They get the win on Monday at Detroit. Are they going to win another game? They're going to beat the Pistons Friday?
Man, I think so. You know, I mean, the Pistons are in a similar situation where they've played 30 guys, and it could be 31 now since they just announced the addition of Jalen Noel. So, I mean, both teams are in these situations where any given day you don't know who's going to be in the lineup. So, that makes it a toss-up. And considering that they're at home and they beat them last time, this is a very winnable game.
So Brandon Clark's the story in the last few games. He's back. He looks good. I'm not sure if you had a chance to talk to him, but you got to be impressed with what he's been able to do so far coming off a very serious Achilles injury.
Yeah. Shout out to modern medicine, right? Like, that's another example of, a player coming back from a situation where 20, maybe 30 years ago, it would have felt like a long shot.
Mm-hmm.
That he, athletically, he looked good. I was talking to him in the locker room the other day, and we were talking about lateral agility. It was like, I had no doubt that you'd come back, leaping like the way he's been leaping to this point. My concern was he going to be able to still be the same player? Who, when the point guard gets the switch, can he stay in front of those guys, or a shooting guard, or one of those forwards? And so far, still looks like that type of guy. So it's not just his leaping ability; it's the lateral quickness, which is, made him, a closer for the Grizzlies in a lot of situations. There were a lot of times where, Steven Adams didn't have the quote unquote foot speed, to be in those in the game situations, and the Grizzlies said, "Oh, no problem. We got Brandon Clark to just throw in the game, and you wouldn't miss a beat." So he looks good in those areas in particular. Of course, there's the endurance things that'll come into play, and that's why you got a whole off season to kind of continue to build on what he's doing right now. But I think everyone has to be encouraged from what they've seen.
The thing, because we talked about a lot, like just the mental side of it. Like, he doesn't seem like any hesitant at all. Like, he's kind of throwing his body around. He looks like the old Brandon Clark.
Yeah, exactly. I mean, you just touched on it. I think someone asked him that after that first game back about the mental, jump in. I think they asked him, like, was he thinking about it when he jumped up the first time to make a dunk or something? He was like, what? No, like he's completely over the mental hurdle in his mind, at this point. And I guess that's a credit to the Grizzlies in a way, too, because they took their time with this thing, right? Like, you could make an argument that Brandon Clark, in theory, was physically ready to play, weeks earlier. But, the Grizzlies were careful in every sense with this thing. And I just reiterate that, like, they even gave him the option. Like, he didn't have to play this season. The Grizzlies were fine with shutting him down and, giving him a full start going into next season. But he wanted to play, and we're seeing why.
He may not have been thinking about it, but I was thinking about it when that first vertical happened and he came down on the Achilles, on the foot. But so far, so good. And I don't know how much more he'll play, but I'm sure there's still a few more games in him. As far as that is concerned, other than Saturday night ceremony, which we'll talk about in a few moments, is there anything else you're looking forward to seeing in the last 7 games? Any combinations of players out on the court or anything in your mind?
Just a couple guys to see if they take advantage of these opportunities. One is Lamar Stevens, one we've talked about, pretty much a lot. But there's a difference in role here, with guys like Desmond Bain being in the lineup a little bit more, Luke Kennard and those guys, and then the front court kind of being a little bit more, it's a little more solid now from a depth perspective with Santi, Brandon, and Jaren in the picture. Now it forces, Lamar to go back to his natural wing spot, playing a lot more small forward and power forward. And if you watched in those first few games when he came with the Grizzlies, and everyone was like, wow, this Lamar Stevens is, actually a solid player. He was playing mostly power forward and center. He's playing the backup center spot because Trey Jemison was the only backup center that the team had. And since he's on a 2-way deal, when he would miss games, Lamar Stevens would have to be the backup center. So in that situation, we saw what Lamar was best at, offensively at least, getting to the rim, finishing around the rim, mid-range jumpers, things like that. But now that he's playing on the perimeter more, you're starting to see his natural position, but his numbers haven't been the same. I think that maybe there's an adjustment period there, or whatever the case may be, but we need to see a little bit more of him on the wing before the Grizzlies have to make that decision on, okay, this is someone we want to bring back, or this is someone we could do without, because I think that's a big part of it. And then there's, a couple other guys as well. Scottie Pippen Jr., he's on a 2-way deal. He's played solid for the most part. I think you want to see him continue to stack, good performances on top of one another as we go into the off season. And then Trey Jemison is probably the last one for me, because I think he has a spot that could be up for grabs. For example, right now the Grizzlies have 2 second-round picks. Odds are that they won't keep both, but let's say that they do keep both. If they keep both of those second-round picks, more than likely those 2 second-round picks are going to become 2-way players. Unless they're drafting stash guys, they're going to become 2-way players. And if they become 2-way players, you're going to need 2 2-way spots. Jordan Goodwin, I think, is pretty much a given going into next season. That's going to be one spot that's going to be available. The second one, I think Scottie Pippen Jr. is more on the safer side, and the second one could be Trey Jemison. So Trey Jemison, for the rest of these, last 7 games or so, he has to convince the Grizzlies that, hey, I'm better than a second-round pick.
Have you watched, I assume you've watched the Marc Gasol documentary?
I watched some of it. It was like what, hour and 40 something.
Yeah,
minutes?
it's long.
I got through 45. I got through 45 minutes. I saw the first 45 minutes, and I plan on finishing it in the next day or so for sure.
Because obviously this was before your time covering the Grizzlies extensively. So I mean, and there's a lot of interesting information, behind the scenes information in that. Obviously, Mark's number going to be retired on Saturday night. Should be a fun night. Everything else, but have you had a chance to talk to Mark yet, leading up to the retirement?
Briefly, yeah. I just had a brief conversation with him. I talked to a bunch of people around him, to kind of get what the sense going into this. Like you said, Mark was kind of before my time. I joke about it, like the one interaction that I had with Mark was when I was an intern, and I think it was 2018, right before he got traded. When I was an intern, and I was in the elevator with him, and I just said a couple words to him, and that was that. But outside of that, so I just been talking to people, talking to his former coaches and teammates, Tony Allen, Zach Randolph, just about what he meant to this franchise, and you kind of see it in the documentary as well. Like Memphis is kind of like his home, like when it comes to like the state. Like this is the place, when he left, Spain and whatnot. Like Memphis is literally his home away from home, and just hearing all the funny stories, like how he was a big jokester, but how committed he was to basketball and things like that, and the commitment to the community. Talking to people through St. Jude and things like that. Like he was definitely a fixture in the community, and that was something I also saw as a kid. Being from here, you would see the signs of him. Zach Randolph and Mike Conley and all those things those guys were doing in the community.
Yeah, you wouldn't have gotten to that point yet, but yeah, in the documentary they do an extensive thing about the St. Jude stuff with him and with Powell and their family. But man, oh man, I knew he had done a lot with St. Jude, but he was like constantly over there.
If I'm not mistaken, I think he did stuff with LeBonner as well. Because that's where my wife works. I think so. I don't want to misspeak here, but I mean he's unbelievable, and he would do things without fanfare, right? He didn't need he didn't say, "Hey, bring a camera over here." He's amazing because I loved his brother. I think his brother doesn't get his just rewards around here. He does obviously in Los Angeles and the great relationship with Kobe and the championships. But I think Mark and that whole Gasol family, just a tremendous family. But the guy's got an impeccable memory. Anytime I talk to him, like any play, like he remembers every single play, and that's why he probably remembers you, DeMichael. Yeah, I remember you. You were on the elevator one time with me for a couple of seconds. He's fantastic. So Saturday's going to be epic. I imagine there's going to be a lot of dignitaries, a lot of special people there.
Oh yeah. I've been trying to see if Mike Conley is going to make the trip. But, they're on the West Coast. I think they got Phoenix and L.A. In between days. I think that's Friday and Saturday for them. So that's probably tough. Unlikely. But yeah, a lot of people are planning on, former coaches, teammates, all planning on being in the building.
Yeah, I know they were trying to get Conley, but I don't think it's going to work for him to be able to come. It's the thing, you talk about his memory, but there's certain details like that I never know. Like in that thing, they're talking about like him playing defense on guys, and literally because of all the film and study that he had done, knows like he's counting the number of dribbles a guy does because he knows that at the certain number of dribbles is when the guy goes a certain direction. And I'm like, this is mind-blowing stuff to me that you could be like, they all talk about like he knew everything that everybody was going to do on the court.
Yeah, I mean, smart. I mean, and it goes to show, like, because when you look at Marc Gasol play, like just in his career, like he won Defensive Player of the Year, for example, but he was never this like Dwight Howard type shot blocker or anything, and that's how he did it. Like you just pointed it out, like he was always like from a positioning standpoint, one of the best of the last decade at the center spot in terms of defensive positioning. Like and that just comes to, I know exactly what you're going to do, I know exactly what he's going to do, and I know exactly where to be when he comes off of that screen and when he slips off of this screen. Like, it's all smart for him. And I think, on both ends we saw it, but it really stood out defensively with Marcus Gasol.
He's one of the, he's so smart. He would be great in coaching, except for he would drive himself crazy trying to coach.
He would be one of those coaches like we talk about Ted Williams in baseball. Hey, I don't understand why you can't hit 400 or 380. Mark would demand excellence and probably get frustrated when it's not happening. That's what I would imagine. But, what's amazing is he was the throw-in in the trade. I know that when Powell was playing, wanted him traded to Memphis, and it didn't happen. And then Powell gets traded, and he's a throw-in. And then who was it? Was it Pops who went crazy about that trade?
Well, everybody did, but
he was very vocal about it. I wonder now if you talked to Pop about that. Did Marcus Gasol turn out okay? But nobody thought that Marcus Gasol was going to turn into the player he did. Different with Powell when he was drafted as high as he was. Powell was expected to be a really, really good player. But Powell knew how good he was. It was his brother. And that's why he wanted him dealt. He wanted to have his brother on this team. And it ended up being that they were traded for each other, along with other people obviously involved in that trade. But it's a great story. Marcus Gasol is an amazing story to Mike on the fact that he played high school ball at Lausanne here while his brother played for Memphis just adds to that story.
Oh, for sure. And I spent some time talking to people just, from that stage of his life too. And I mean, his commitment to basketball to them really stood out, very early because, you don't think about it, but his days in terms of, all the, Lausanne, from the educational standpoint, all the things that he'd have to do, and then go into the Grizzlies games, when Powell played, there was a very small window in there for him to just really work on his game every day and just talking to people there like he did. When he got that little window each and every day, he would work on his game before going to the FedEx Forum after he got done studying. And, you see the results now.
He talked about, college, he's I was overweight. He just, that was never a thing he considered of going to college here. He knew once he done high school, he wanted to go back to Spain. Because at that point, he was overweight and he wasn't thought of as anything really as far as a basketball player was concerned.
He kept McDonald's in business. It's amazing. He was eating double quarter pounders with cheese, and he was and we watched him at Lausanne. It's man, he is a plump guy and all that. But then, man, once he got into shape, whoo, man, could that guy play? All right, real quick before we let you go, and we've been talking a lot about it, and we will be talking much more about it as we get closer and closer to the draft, and of course the draft lottery. But I'm sure you saw what Donovan Clingan did against Illinois. And now Mox moving him up. Gavoni moves him up to number 3. We've discussed kind of the Grizzlies and where we don't know where they'll pick, but more than likely the odds say they'll pick around 7th or 6th or whatever it is. It's 30%. There is a chance that they could move into the top 3. But are you sold on Clingan if he would be available for Memphis? Or if not, are you looking at, unless they trade out of it, a shooter? A guy like Reed Shepherd, a guy like Dillingham, a guy like Dalton Connect for Memphis. Because I had asked Zach this question, and he said, look, man, it doesn't have to be a center or a shooter. It could be somebody else. I know their needs are center, or at least a big man, big physical man, or a shooter. What do you think direction you would go in? And, again, your thoughts on Clingan.
Yeah, starting with Clingan, he's kind of growing on me from the perspective of, the physicality is there, shot blocking ability, and things like that. So when it comes to drafting him, I have I'm a little mixed, but overall, if you say, hey, he's available at 7, I'm fine with it. If he's at 4 or 3, and you're picking at 7, I don't think you should move up to do it.
Right.
And if he's at 3 or 4, maybe 4, but if he's at 3 and the Grizzlies end up with the 3rd pick, I'm still a little bit mixed on it because of this. This is the only thing for me. He is a center who in his career has been, in a lot of foul trouble. And I think, these next couple matchups are going to be his way to potentially ease some of those concerns if he goes against, DJ Burns and Zach Edey. He can ease some of those concerns about, his fouls per 40 minutes and whatnot. So that's just when you talk about fit. He's a great fit beside Jaren with the rebounding, rim protection, physicality, and those things. But Jaren has fouled as much as anyone in the past 5 years in the NBA. And you put Clingan, another guy who is, near the top of the leaderboards in fouls per game in college basketball right now. You're going to be seeing a lot of Brandon Clark on the floor. So that's the only question right now that I have in terms of a fit perspective. But everything else, like, my biggest concern with the center spot was I don't want a guy who's not going to be able to come in next season and hold his own against NBA centers. And, again, he's 7'2", 265. He might not be able to do it day one, but you get to January, February, March, he should be able to hold his own. So I'm kind of, more on board with the idea of bringing in Clingan. But, again, if you're at 7, he's off the board, I don't think you break a sweat because of the idea that the guys that you just mentioned, in terms of, Reese Shepard, Rob Dillingham, Jacoby Walter, Kevin McCullers from Kansas, there are a lot of wings out there who I think, we talked about it a little bit on here, where the Grizzlies got to be more forward-thinking. And when I say that, you want to be a year ahead on decisions now because the money is about to be tighter.
Yep.
With Desmond Payne, John Morant, Jaren Jackson Jr. Taking up a lot of the salary cap and whatnot, and you're going to be a tax team. So with that being the case, you gotta work around the margin. And when I talk about working around the margin, Luke Kennard is the first person who comes to mind. Whereas he has a $14 million team option, you're probably going to pick that up. He probably plays with the team this season, and if he plays well, next season. If he plays well next season, he's going to command a similar salary. And you want to be in a position to say, we don't have to pay him that and go into the second apron. We have a guy that we drafted in the first round who got his feet wet his rookie year. He's ready to step into that role.
All right. We'll talk a lot more we'll be talking ad nauseum about this possibility and possibilities that the Grizzlies will have with the draft. As I mentioned earlier in the show, it's been a while since we even cared about the draft lottery in the sense of Memphis, but now the Grizzlies are certainly involved. Of course, DeMichael will have you covered with all things Grizzlies at the Commercial Appeal. Follow him on Twitter at DeMichaelC, and we get to hear from him each and every Wednesday all year long right here on Sports 56 Mornings. Thank you, DeMichael. We'll see you later on in the week.
All right, take care, guys.
You too. Take care. All right, when we come back, special guest, we're going to talk with singer-songwriter Drew Holcomb, whose song Dance with Everybody is being used by college basketball in the NCAA tournament. We'll talk to Drew when we return. This is Sports 56 Mornings with Greg and Eli on Real Sports Talk, Sports 56 and 98.5 FM.
Broadcasting from the Family Leisure Studio, we are Sports 56 and 98.5 FM.
Chris Price, it's so good to see you. And you have a new business?
Yes, Dave. MetroBuildersMemphis.com. Have you noticed water stains on your ceiling? With storm season here, take a walk around your home or business and look up. Make sure there are no water stains signaling a leak prior to the heavy storms coming in. If you do see signs of water, call me. My team and I will come out, diagnose the problem, and prescribe a fix. Our team of Hague-certified inspectors are waiting to assist with any inspection or repairs you may need. We have 3 crews dedicated to repairing roofs in the Mid-South. As certified Owens Corning and Mule High dealers, we offer 20-year, no-dollar limit labor and material warranties that offer hassle-free ownership. That's our hassle-free ownership guarantee. Allow Metro Builders team of professionals to assist you in maintaining your property's integrity and value. MetroBuildersMemphis.com. Your local commercial roof experts. Ask about our commercial roof maintenance agreements. Protect your investment with MetroBuildersMemphis.com. Call me, 901-375-1717. That's 901-375-1717. 375-1717.
Hewlett & Dunn Boot and Clothing Company, we have it all. From handmade Amish leather belts, fine and casual clothing, boots, casual boots, work boots, fancy boots, and even safety-toed boots. Lots of cowboy hats to choose from, even Nebo lights, good-looking duck head dress shirts, duck head caps, shorts, and pants. Tons of jeans from Ariat, Wrangler, Devil Dog, and Kimes Ranch jeans. At Hewlett & Dunn, we have a great selection of Old South t-shirts and caps. Fine clothing from dress to casual to Sunday best. Enjoy choosing from UFO's orthopedic-approved shoes. Hewlett & Dunn Boot and Clothing Company. Boots of every size, every color, every skin. Great quality Western, work, and safety toe boots. Hewlett & Dunn Boots and Clothing Company. 111 North Center Street, Collierville. Hewlett & Dunn. Hewlett & Dunn, serving you and your family since 1961.
Every day when we're on the road, people around us endanger themselves and others by looking at their phones while driving. There's the sneak-a-peeker who darts their eyes between the road and their texts, or the nightlighter who illuminates their car after dark. If that's you, reconsider before you find yourself becoming the fender bender-er, the got a ticket-er, or worst of all, the driver who killed someone. Put the phone away or pay. Paid for by NHTSA.
Hey, what's up, everybody? This is your buddy Johnny Radio. I'm here with Mark, the owner of Dyer's, out in Collierville's historic town square, where they've been cooking up them burgers since 1912, the old-fashioned way. Mark, what's going on in life? I see you got your 4 kids with you. What do they love about Dyer's?
Man, they love everything about Dyer's. They love all the great food that we serve, and they really like eating our good food and watching some of their favorite sports.
Braden, what do you like at Dyer's?
I like a bacon burger with fries, a milkshake, and with a Tigers game in the background.
Carter, who's your favorite football team?
The Carolina Panthers, and just with some macaroni with that sounds amazing.
My man Beckham, what's your favorite food over at Dyer's?
We like the double cheeseburgers.
Kinley, what is your favorite dish over at Dyer's?
Daddy's cheeseburgers and the Dallas Cowboys game in the background.
Just remember, everybody, bring your family, bring your friends, bring your team out and eat at our place.
So head on over to Dyer's in Collierville's historic town square.
You've heard of James Gaddis Jewelers, but have you heard what they've done lately? Everything! A tremendous selection of diamonds and jewels, gold, silver, and much more. Lots of watches, tons of custom-made jewelry, fine gemstones, bracelets, necklaces, so many choices. Romantics will love the one-of-a-kind estate and vintage jewelry. James Gaddis has experts to help you with wedding and engagement rings, plus 2 repair experts for fine watches and jewelry. Layaway and financing available. James Gaddis Jewelers at 4900 Poplar.
You watch sports. You listen to sports. Now let's talk sports. Are you a huge sports fan with always something to say but only a few listeners? Well, not anymore, because Sports 56 is opening the airwaves overnight. From 12 midnight till 6 a.m. for people like you to talk sports during your own 1-hour radio talk show on Sports After Dark. That means for 1 hour, you can tell us what's really on your mind regarding sports. Your favorite sports team, your favorite player, discuss pre-games, post-games, all games. Let's talk. Orientation is required. Interested applicants must contact the podcast center at gmail.com or call 901-468-3097. That's the podcast center at gmail.com or 901-468-3097. Amateur and professional talk show hosts encouraged to apply.
Required orientation is Saturday, April 13th, or you can take it online.
Now back to Sports 56 Mornings on Sports 56 and 98.5 FM. This hour brought to you by Jenkins Floors and More. Here once again are Greg Gaston and Eli Savoy.
Early Monday morning to Friday at 5, man, I work, but I don't climb. Boss man,
welcome back here, Sports 56 Mornings from the Family Leisure Studios. Good to have you with us here. If you've probably, leading up to the tournament in promos and throughout the NCAA tournament, if you've been watching the action, you probably have heard, you may not have been paying close attention, but you've heard this song.
When you walked into this room, you hardly knew anyone. Sea full of strangers, crashing on the rungs. When the band strikes by the end of the night, strangers no more. I want to dance with everybody who came through that door.
What you may not know, or some of you may know, is that is a Memphian that wrote and is performing that song. Drew Holcomb and the Neighbors and the National Parks, Dance with Everybody. That's the song that they've been using on the NCAA tournament coverage. And Drew Holcomb is a Memphian who lives in Nashville now, but he's from Memphis, and he joins us now on the program from out on tour. Drew, how are you doing this morning?
I'm doing well. Good morning.
All right, so first of all, when did you write and record that song?
Let's see. I wrote it probably in the fall of 22, and it came out in Actually, no. I wrote it in the fall of 21, and it came out in the fall of 22.
And then how did it come to when they, I guess, contacted you or whatever that this became, because it obviously fits very well with the big dance. There's actually even a line there about, I think, lacing up shoes, if I'm not mistaken, too. How did it become that they decided they wanted to use this, and how'd that all work out?
Yeah, I'm not exactly sure, but I know that someone inside of the NCAA is a fan of my music, and I think saw us play on tour in the fall of 22 when the song had just come out. And it was the sort of the show closer for that tour. And then they reached out. This song kind of works really well for March Madness. Obviously, I didn't write it thinking about basketball. But it's fun when something sort of, lines up like that fortuitously. So it was really cool. I've gotten so many, friends and strangers and comments, and just they've been playing it like crazy, which is great for us, obviously. But yeah, it's been pretty fun. I was not a basketball player. I'm 5'10", and I was a very poor basketball player, and I had a lot of cousins that were great at basketball growing up in Memphis, and so it's been really sweet for me to be the one who made it, to the Final Four and not them.
Well, it's like I think there's a line about lacing up your shoes, which fits very well, but I think there's also a line that says something about let's quit keeping score. That line doesn't work well with March Madness.
That does not work. Yeah, you got to keep score.
So, Drew, I'm sure every one of your songs, they're your babies, but after a while, when you hear a song over and over and over again, as much as you like it, sometimes you can get a little sick of it. Is there any song that you have done on tour for years and you're like, I'm not going to play that song anymore?
Yeah, I mean, there's most of the songs of my catalog that I don't really want to listen to anymore happen to also be my least popular songs. So that's been a nice gift for me. Typically, for whatever reason, the ones that people sort of tend to sort of latch onto have been mostly ones that I still enjoy playing. Every once in a while, you feel like you kind of need to give a song a rest. Mm-hmm. Or it's the great thing about live music is you can kind of reinvent a song. Mm-hmm. Like you can take a song like Dance with Everybody, in a couple of years when I get tired of playing it, it's still fresh and new, so we still love playing it. It's a big, fun song. But, in a couple of years when we're tired of that, I'll figure out some way to strip it down to like an acoustic ballad for a tour just to kind of, that's the cool thing about music. You can kind of always reinvent it. And that's my way of sort of dealing with the monotony sometimes of playing a song over and over again, is kind of try to reinvent it.
That's a great word, the monotony of doing something over and over again. And I know you're not obligated to do anything, but when you put your set list together, like you said, it's a good thing that your most popular songs, you still love playing those songs, but people want to hear hits. It's always, it's a new song, I'm going to play a new song, and then you head to the bathroom, and then it ends up being a great song and a big hit for you, right? I mean, that's always the case with fans over the years. But as far as that is concerned, there are artists out there that purposely don't play their big songs, don't want to play their big songs. Do you feel like, hey, they're coming out, they're paying their money, they want to hear me, they want to hear the group, but they also want to hear the hits?
Yeah, I definitely come from the school of thought that is, people spent their hard-earned time and money to come out to a show. You want to at least give them a good bit of what they expect. Mm-hmm. I actually had this conversation with friends the other day. Some friends of ours went to see Bob Dylan in Nashville last week. And they said, you didn't play a single thing that I knew. And I'm like, well, yeah, that's his reputation. Bob Dylan does what Bob Dylan wants. That's not my school of thought. I come a little bit more from the sort of petty Springsteen camp, which is, give the people what they want, but then also, take them on a journey. You don't just sit there and play through the songs people expect, but at the same time, you give the crowd something to participate in.
Drew Holcomb joining us here on the program. So you grew up in Memphis, then you went to Tennessee, correct?
I did, and this is back when, you were way more likely to go to a Lady Vols game with Coach Summit than you were to go watch the Vols be, bottom of the barrel SEC like we were for so many years in the 90s and early aughts. But yeah, I went to Tennessee for sure, but I was a Tigers fan. I mean, I went to more Tigers games in Knoxville than I did, regular men's games back in the day, to be honest.
Really? So are you still a Tiger fan, or did you get caught up in Tennessee and how good they are and the run they made?
I mean, I certainly have gotten caught up in it since, really starting with the Bruce Pearl era. And then obviously the Rick Barnes era has been really fun. When Tennessee started being really trash at football for a lot of years, we had to have something to root for. And it was nice that basketball sort of was rising at the same time our football team was really struggling. So I definitely got caught up in it, but if we're playing the Tigers straight up in basketball, I really just want to see a great game because I still have a lot of heart for both,
When did you go to Tennessee? What years?
I was there 2003.
Okay.
04.
So you went right from high school to college, I assume, right? You didn't take a year off.
Yep.
So you
That's
were in
right.
high school then, I would imagine, when Memphis pulled off the big upset over Tennessee at the Liberty Bowl in football. Do you remember that?
I remember it well. I was at the game.
Oh, okay. What was that
And
experience
it was
like?
that was a heartbreaker because while I pulled for, us Memphians, we have complex, sports loyalties. So I was a Tennessee football fan through and through, and especially that year because Peyton Manning had decided to stick around for his senior year, and we all thought we were going to get this national title. And, that game was a heartbreaker. I do remember my dad has always been, he's probably listening, my dad was always a little bit of a let's leave in the middle of the fourth quarter and beat the traffic sort of fan. And so we're walking out and we hear the crowd go crazy. And I'm like, what did we just miss? And then we, come to find out we missed this miracle. And my mom and dad, who both went to Tennessee, my mom became a traitor to the Vols in that moment. And she was like, that is so great for the Tigers. I'm so excited. I'm like, Mom, we just dashed our national championship hopes. I'm crying in the back seat, and so I remember that game very well.
Oh, that's crazy. So your band, are there other Memphians in the band?
Yes, one. My guitar player, Nathan Duggar, went to Houston High School, moved to Memphis from Phoenix when he was probably 11 or 12, but grew up there, played in bar bands around town. I met him when I graduated from Tennessee. I moved back to Memphis, got a job with a producer in town named Paul Ebersold, who had been at Ardent and had just built his own place. And I was playing bar gigs around town. I was playing at the Brookhaven Pub. I was playing Newbies. I was playing, what's that, Flying Saucer downtown, P&H Cafe. And I was looking for somebody to play with me, and my old youth pastor said, hey, there's this kid that plays in our youth group. He's a senior at Houston. He's really good, can play everything. You should play with him. So my first rehearsal was at his parents' house in the living room. I'm 22, he's 18, and I'm like, this is weird. I got this kid, And then he started playing guitar and piano, and immediately I thought, this is my guy. And we've been playing music together for 20 years now.
When did you know, how early did you know that you had a knack for music, and how did it all start?
It honestly, unlike a lot of musicians, I did not have this dream as a kid. I played guitar for fun, starting in the seventh grade. Was learning songs like every guy with a guitar. I didn't start writing though until I went to Tennessee, but then I went and studied abroad in Scotland, and that's really where I started writing songs. And all of a sudden, I thought maybe I should give this a try, and that was sort of the beginning of it. And I got back to Knoxville my senior year, booked a few gigs, played in front of a bunch of friends. At first, they came because I was their buddy, and then they said, man, I actually really like your stuff. You should give this a go. So instead of going to graduate school, I moved back to Memphis, got this job at a studio, started gigging, and really never looked back.
Wow.
We're talking about your song being used for the NCAA tournament, but I was looking at, you've had, it seems like, a lot of songs in various TV shows.
Yeah, we've had. I mean, it's really been our radio, just because I'm not really in a sort of typical, sort of radio genre. Yeah, we've had our songs placed in about 150 shows in the last 20 years, and we've had a lot of sports stuff too. We had remember the year the NBA was on strike and their first game back was on Christmas Day.
Yeah.
Yeah, so they used this song of mine called "Live Forever" for this big promo, and actually won a sports Emmy, which I never really had on my bingo card.
Wow.
That was a fun one too. But yeah, it's been interesting, and I've never written songs specifically for TV shows, commercials, or sports, but something about our music tended to, I don't know, sort of works well in that format, and so we've had a lot of we made a lot of fans over the years by having our songs on these kind of promos like the March Madness one.
Drew, have you ever said no to somebody, a company, a business that wanted to use your song?
Yeah, for sure. Yeah, I mean, I think sometimes when people want to use something exclusively, but then they want to pay you peanuts, that's just a hard pass.
Yeah, it doesn't work out well, does it?
That's an easy no.
That's really the only thing that kind of holds it up is if people want exclusive rights to use something for a long period of time,
right?
Without sort of being willing to sort of pay for that. But it is interesting. I do have certain clauses, people can't use my songs in sort of like tobacco ads without permission. And there's all these clauses that artists put up, pornography and stuff like that. You're like, well, maybe let's think about that,
So you're involved with a lot of other things, but what I want to know about Sweetens Cove whiskey that you're with Peyton Manning, going back to Peyton Manning, you're partnered with him.
Yeah,
and Andy Roddick's involved in that, some other guys, but tell me about Sweetens Cove whiskey.
Yeah, so there's this really cool 9-hole golf course in South Pittsburgh, Tennessee, which is kind of just over the mountain from Mont Eagle on your way to Chattanooga. So if you're coming from Memphis, it's right off 72. If you're coming from Nashville, it's over off 24. And it was one of these sort of field of dreams kind of stories. This guy found this really rundown 9-hole golf course. He decided to put some investors together and bought it. And he was an aspiring golf course architect, but with no official training in that. And he went and bought this land, on a shoestring budget, and it was really not doing well. But the people who played it were loving it, and it kind of blew up in the sort of golf social media, Twitter, and it got written up in the New York Times as one of the greatest 9-hole golf course in America.
Wow!
And that you've never heard of. Anyway, so it started getting really popular and it filled up, and I started going to play it a lot. I love golf, play a lot of golf, and fell in love with the place. I mean, they literally had an outhouse, like a porta-john and a shed. The shed is still the clubhouse. It's a shed you could go buy at Home Depot for $10,000. Anyways, Peyton and some friends of his and Andy decided to buy it, and they asked me to get involved. They said, I've known Peyton since through my music and through the scholarship that he had at Tennessee, and I'd met Andy through some golf stuff, charitable stuff. And they said, hey, we're looking for a Tennessee musician who loves golf, who loves bourbon, and is from here. And I was like, well, there's only 6 of us that meet that category. So I signed up, and I've been involved. And we launched a bourbon out of that, which we've been doing now for about 3 years. It's been going really well, and the golf course is we do day passes instead of tee times, so there's never more than 50 people on the property, and people kind of have it to themselves. And we're sold out 8 months in advance, which has really been a spectacular thing.
Yeah, the designers, the architects came and redid Overton Park's 9-hole golf course here in Memphis. Those were the people that did Sweetens Cove, were the ones that came back and did this. Because I've heard so many things about Sweetens Cove forever at Everett, and I want to play it sometime. But they had them come and redo Overton Park's 9-hole golf course here in Memphis.
Which is where I grew up playing. My grandparents lived around the corner on Overton Park.
Oh, really?
And, so my grandfather loved to play. So when I was 5, 6, 7 years old, we'd go over there and play a few holes. So when Rob Collins, the architect, told me that he was in the running for that job, I was very excited to sort of see my worlds collide in that way. And from what I've heard, they did a great job. And I think some people in town were trying to turn the golf course into something else, and it was great to see that they fought to keep it a golf course.
All right, your favorite 18-hole course in Memphis, your favorite 18-hole course anywhere, and what is your low score?
I'll answer reverse. My low score is I've shot 71 about 6 times.
That's
impressive. For
impressive.
whatever reason, can't seem to get below it. Never broken par. That was all on a par 71 course. I think my favorite course anywhere. I've gotten to go to Scotland a few times. There's this place called Royal Dornoch, way up in the Highlands, and that's my favorite course in the world. And then my favorite course in Memphis. Oh man, I actually think Memphis is a great golf town.
Yes. It is.
Had the privilege to play Memphis Country Club a few times. I love that. Grew up playing Galloway. That's a ton of fun. My brother plays out at Windike. Love it there. Love both courses out there. I probably played Windike more than anywhere else, and so to go out there with him and his buddies is probably my favorite thing to do golf wise in Memphis.
Well, yeah, that's the thing. Like, there's a lot of variety in golf courses. Like a Galloway, which is a little shorter, like you said, a lot of fun to play. You got some harder courses. Like you can kind of get a little bit of everything here in Memphis. So that's cool. How often do you get back to Memphis now? Have you played here recently, or have anything coming up playing here?
Yeah, we were there. We do a Christmas show every year at the Orpheum, so that's like an every year thing. And then we did the big fundraiser for the Shell last year.
Yep.
The whatever they call that event. I'm blanking on the name of the event, but yeah. So we come. Well, I come back to play maybe once or twice a year to play music, and then all my family's still there. So I'm probably there 4 or 5 times a year to see family. I've got nieces and nephews that are athletes, and so I try to sneak in every once in a while and watch them play. My 2 nieces were a junior and senior on the ECS soccer team that won state championship. So I made it to a bunch of those games, and fun to watch people play. And my kids are a little younger than my sister's kids, and so they adore and look up to their older cousins. So we try to get there a good bit. Both my siblings are still there. My parents are still there. And the only reason I ever left is because I fell in love with a Nashville girl, and she stole me. So
there you go. It's always a woman, right?
That'll do it to you.
That's right.
Where are you guys playing? You're on tour right now. Where are you right now?
Yeah, this is day one. I woke up. We got on the bus last night after that crazy storm blew through, and I woke up in Lexington, Kentucky. This is the first of 32 shows in 45 days.
Wow.
Well, say hi to Cal for us.
Don't rub in the whole Tennessee, Kentucky thing tonight. That won't play well to the fans there.
No, we were actually making our set list this morning, and they were like, "Are we playing Tennessee tonight?" And I was like, "I don't know. I mean, they had a tough go of it this run. Maybe we should lay off."
When you play dance with everybody, remind them they're using this for the NCAA tournament. You guys weren't in it for very long, but they are using this. If you saw it.
Oh, did we lose Drew? I think we lost Drew. Wow, he's a treat. But Drew Holcomb, again, the song is called Dance with Everybody, and it's a part of the NCAA tournament theme. If you haven't heard it, you haven't been listening.
Genesis Diamonds, folks. Don't be buying any jewelry, any diamonds, those engagement rings, or any fine jewelry anywhere else until you at least go check out Genesis Diamonds. We talk about the selection, talk about the prices, but the service is also one of the great things that keeps bringing people back, because they don't have clerks behind a counter just trying to urge you to buy the most expensive thing to make their commission greater. They're not working on commission, so it doesn't matter to them. They're there to educate you. They're trying to make you a smarter, better shopper when it comes to buying jewelry, especially diamonds. They will take you through what to look for in diamonds, what you can find, what you're trying to figure out is what affects prices, how they grade it, all of those things, from lab-grown diamonds, natural diamonds, all of that. They will take great care of you and educate you on the entire process when it comes to that. Again, selection, pricing, that is out of this world, but the service is as well. It's all a very relaxed atmosphere when you go see them at Genesis Diamonds, Poplar and Perkins Extended. Go see them, Genesis Diamonds.
All right, let's have our proper goodbye. I don't know what happened. We got disconnected with Drew. Let's bring Drew Holcomb back on. Sorry about that, Drew. Don't know what happened there, but no worries. It might have been John Calipari. You heard me say Cal, and you're in Lexington, and Tennessee. I don't know. He may have got involved in that, but we want to wish you nothing but the best. It's great to have Memphians successful as you are. Your music is outstanding, and anybody who can combine Americana music with outhouses and bourbon and golf, and you're my kind of guy. So, Drew, thank you so much. Really appreciate it. Best of luck with everything, and hopefully we get to do it again soon. Yeah, thanks for having me on. Great to talk with you guys. Thank you, Drew. Drew Holcomb. Great stuff. We'll take a quick timeout, come back and wrap it up. This is Sports 56 Mornings with Greg and Eli on Real Sports Talk, Sports 56 and 98.5 FM.
Broadcasting from the Family Leisure Studio, we are Sports 56 and 98.5 FM.
If you own a business, you know Luttrell Belting keeps you moving. Luttrell has cost-effective belts, conveyor components, and 24/7 on-site service to keep you operating smoothly. Text or just a phone call away at 800-441-8946 or online at LuttrellBelting.com. Luttrell's Memphis plant stocks belting in nearly every size and finish, and if they don't have it, they'll make it. From ordering to selection, fabrication, and installation, your Luttrell sales rep is there for you. Luttrell Belting keeps you moving.
Sponsored by BetterHelp Online Therapy. How's your social battery? It's easy to ignore our needs and spread ourselves too thin. Therapy can give you the self-awareness to build a social life that doesn't drain your battery. BetterHelp offers affordable online therapy on a schedule that works for you. Start the process in minutes, switch therapists anytime, find your social sweet spot with BetterHelp. Visit betterhelp.com/succeed today to get 10% off your first month.
Nestled in the heart of East Memphis, located corner of Park and Cherry, is a beautiful residential neighborhood. I'm here at Town Village Audubon Park interviewing a new resident, Carolyn. Share with us why you chose Town Village.
Well, if your parents or special friends need to make that big move, let me share with you my experience. It was tough for me to leave home, but then I discovered Town Village. I would like to highly recommend Town Village to you and your loved ones. After looking at all the amenities and meeting all the people and staff, I was hooked. From restaurant, bistro, 3 meals per day, housekeeping, transportation, security, health care, physical therapy, exercise room, and even a heated pool and spa. Come see us and make your new home at Town Village.
Visit us and call Daniel at Town Village Audubon Park at 901-374-7342. There's no place like home, Town Village.
Cashback is not available on gas in New Jersey and Wisconsin.
Billy, your gas light's on. We need to stop and fill up.
No way, Jen. Gas around here is too expensive. We can make it a little further.
Billy, listen to your big sister. You don't need to drive all over searching for the lowest gas prices. Do what I do and use Upside.
Upside?
Do you live under a rock, Billy? Upside is the hottest cashback app out there. It's free to download, and you get real cash back for every gallon of gas you buy. I use it all the time, and I've already made around $200.
You can make that kind of cash back just for buying the gas you have to buy anyway?
Yes, I'm looking at the Upside app now, and there's a gas station at the next exit offering 25 cents per gallon cash back.
Okay, I'm stopping to download Upside and fill up my tank. Download the free Upside app now to earn cash back every time you buy gas. Use promo code FRIEND to get an extra 25 cents per gallon on your first tank. You can cash out anytime right to your bank, to PayPal, or a gift card for Amazon and other brands. Just download the free Upside app and use promo code FRIEND for a 25 cents per gallon bonus on your first tank. That's code FRIEND for a 25 cents per gallon bonus.
5-Ash Roofing, it's what we do. Roofing and siding, gutters too. We're the pros you can trust to get it done right. Call on us. 5-Ash Roofing, the name to know. 5-Ash Roofing, the only way to go. 5-Ash Roofing, it's what we do. 5-Ash Roofing.
Is that not the corniest thing you've ever heard? Can you believe I paid good money for that silly jingle? Well, the experts say make it memorable, and I think I got my money's worth. 5-Ash Roof Services, proud partner of the Memphis Tigers and the official roofer of the Tigers home team. 5-Ash Roofing, 367-0050 or memphisroofer.com. 367-0050 or memphisroofer.com.
5-Ash Roofing, it's what we do. We're here for you.
Now back to Sports 56 Mornings on Sports 56 and 98.5 FM. This hour brought to you by Jenkins Floors and More. Here once again are Greg Gaston and Eli Savoy.
By the way, shout out to Doug, a listener, who was the one who let me know that because I did not know, I'd heard the song in the NCAA tour. I had no idea who that song was by and that it was a Memphian. So shout out to Doug for letting me know that, and then we were able to get Drew on the show because it's such a catchy song. Like I really liked the song. Whenever I'd hear it, I was like, that's kind of a cool song. But I never really thought about looking up to see who it was or anything like that. And there was a Memphian. Couple of reports. John Rothstein reports that Eric Musselman is the primary candidate for USC for their head coaching search, which There was reports that Musselman wanted the Louisville job, which if he really wanted it and Louisville went the route they did and not Eric Musselman, that seems like a very poor hire.
Yeah, I'm not sure what happened there, whether or not he was serious about it, whether or not they were serious about him.
But that'd be interesting to see if he would end up at USC.
Mm-hmm.
Of course, obviously, that would open up an Arkansas job, which is certainly a good job. And then, according to Pete Thamel, the American Athletic Conference looking at Tim Pernetti as the next commissioner. He is the top candidate. He's right now the president of IMG Academy, but was the former AD at Rutgers and has a television background, much like Mike Oresco had. He has a television background. He's also was involved in other professional sports leagues and things like that. So he apparently is the top candidate for the next commissioner of the AAC.
Breaking news from the NBA, Steve Clifford will step down as the Hornets head coach at the end of the season. And Trey Townsend, one of the stars of that Oakland team, is in the transfer portal. That'll do it for us today. I want to thank our guests, Lawrence Dockery, Jerry Palm, DeMichael Cole, and Drew Holcomb. Tomorrow we're back starting bright and early at 7 a.m. Among our guests tomorrow, Vinny Papali, Memphis Showboats wide receiver, plus Kerry Miller on Major League Baseball. Waldo and Friends on Sports 56 is coming up next. For Eli Savoy and for Zach Boyd, I'm Greg Gaston. Have a great day, everybody.